TKR Sports presents the 1995 Eastern Regional Junior League Championship Tournament, brought to you by Union State Bank. This evening, it's the team from Oakland, Maryland, taking on the squad from West Nyack, New York. Good evening, everyone. Mark Renee along with my broadcast partner, Neil Jordan. And Neil, tonight we've got first-round double elimination action between West Nyack and Oakland, Maryland, a game that was held off by one day because of inclement weather. And today, overcast skies. The lights are already turned on here at Zukor Park in New City, and we are ready for some action. Might see the kids a little bit anxious. They got all ready to play yesterday, went through batting practice, and then they got washed out. So we might see some things that we wouldn't usually see from an all-star team.
You know, it's a bit of a challenge today, Mark, because we discovered that the wind is blowing across the diamond, and it's a cool day. It's one of the coolest days of the summer, it seems. And like you said, the players are really apprehensive because you get revved up 24 hours ago. You don't get to play the game, and a lot's at stake.
These kids have gone through already area competition to get to this point here. It's the regional championships here at Zukor Park. They've played local and state tournaments to get to this point, and to tell you the truth, folks, this Oakland, Maryland team, very good offensively. They put the bat on the ball. They averaged 13.5 runs in their 11 games to get here. They went 11-0. Their pitchers averaged an earned run of only 4.5 a game. So they can hit the ball, they don't give up many runs, and they make the plays defensively.
That's right, and again, I think it's going to be interesting to see the kind of impact that the weather has today. A windy day tends to keep the ball active, and a lot of times, even with all-star level play, you see players really wrestle when the weather is questionable, so we'll have to see how that pans out in this game.
For West Nyack, they went 6-1, folks, to get to this point. They averaged almost 7 runs a game. They used 4 different pitchers along the way, giving up just over a run a game. So they are very good on the pitching side. Their offense not quite as explosive as Oakland, Maryland, but we look for quite an offensive show tonight. Again, it's going to be a little bit of a different struggle for these teams. They're a little bit anxious, and with the weather overcast again tonight, they're going to be a little bit anxious to try and get the bat on the ball. They might start swinging at some bad pitches. So we'll see what happens. Things will develop here at Zukor Park. We're in New City. Neil Jordan, I'm Mark Renee, back with the starting lineups and the start of tonight's game right after this. Welcome back to Zukor Park here in New City. It's, it's holding up. The weather's not too bad right now. The lights are on, as you can see, and we will have some baseball action here for you. The Junior League Eastern Regional Tournament. This is the final first-round game as West Nyack visits, if you will, Oakland, Maryland. This is West Nyack's one of their home fields, and we are about to go down to the field for the starting lineups to be introduced. And, of course, after that, we will have all of the play-by-play action of today's game. Neil, it's a double elimination tournament, and again, we mentioned in the opening, these kids are a little bit anxious. They've had to wait 24 hours to get this one in.
Well, hopefully the fact that the sun's coming out, Mark, will bode well for both teams. They look ready to go, and it looks like we're ready for the starting introduction.
And we head down to the field now.
And the Oakland, Maryland All-Stars. For the visiting West Nyack All-Stars, batting first.
We've got the lineups on screen. You can follow the kids along as they come out. Scott Florentino batting first at right field. Next up, Brian Deutsch will be in center field. Pretty good crowd on hand for this. And Neil, you know, they're expecting 10,000 spectators during the course of this tournament. It got underway yesterday. The final game, of course, coming up Thursday night.
Looks like there'll be a lot of standing room only then, Mark. There are not actually a lot of seats at this ballpark.
Adam Joseph pitched in a couple of games in the preliminaries coming in. Gave up 1 run in the 2 games that he was credited with the wins for. Got some pretty good support in that first game. They beat Nyack Valley Cottage by a score of 8-0.
I think, Mark, it's interesting to look at the boys on the field right now. These are 13-year-olds and 13-year-olds really range in size wildly. If you sort of look up and down the lineup, you'll see there are a couple of kids who are, I guess, haven't hit that growth spurt yet.
John Spadaccini and his coach Sal Fiorentino, the last two out of the dugout there. And the Oakland, Maryland All-Stars will be introduced now. Oakland, Neil, all the way out in western Maryland, about as close as you can get to the West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio corner there. And you see the Oakland is starting lineups. Kids coming out with the gloves because they're actually listed as the home team. They'll get the last ups in the 7th.
I guess, Mark, being from as far west in Maryland as these kids are, putting them near West Virginia, the western part of Pennsylvania, they're probably Pittsburgh Pirate fans.
Most of them actually Oriole fans. Talked to them before the game yesterday. A lot of them Oriole fans. Some Pirate fans sprinkled in, although, you know, the Pirates have fallen on hard times, so they're not really getting the support that they're used to in the Pennsylvania area.
See, but what's so interesting about that is that it's a real tough ticket to be had at Camden Yards in Baltimore, but certainly plenty of empty seats at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
This Oakland team got here, folks, winning 11 consecutive qualifying games. That last game they played to get here against Laurel, Delaware, wasn't a must-win situation. They could have lost. They were down 7, make it 5-2 in the 7th inning of the last game, and they erupted for 8 runs. So last time these guys had the bats in their hands, they put on a pretty good offensive show. As we mentioned in the opening, they averaged about 13.5 runs a game. We've got the national anthem coming up for you now from Zukor Park.
Umpires for tonight's game. Behind the plate from Pennsylvania, Charlie Roberts. At first base from New Jersey, Cliff Ganesh. Second base from Connecticut, Dave Coudet. Third base from Maine. No, third base from New York, excuse me, Richard Parker. Left field, Alan Zepp. And his right field, Brian Wilhelm.
Even the umps getting good.
Can you please rise to the national anthem?
Now the national anthem.
The flag in the center field at the Major League field.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight gleaming, whose broad stripe and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hearts of the brave?
And our national anthem from Zukor Park in New City. Neil Jordan, your first trivia quiz of the night. Any idea who that was singing?
Well, actually, it sounded a little bit like Andrea McCardle.
Not quite. Not quite. It was a young man whose dad actually has a pretty solid connection to Major League Baseball.
Okay. Oh, you just gave it away. Initials TJ.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
His staff and crew that put this tournament together for the town of Clarkstown.
And we've got the Clarkstown supervisor, Charles Holbrook, on the field welcoming everyone to the game.
Playing here at Zukor Park in Clarkstown. I wish everyone good luck in the tournament and let's play ball. Thank you.
Going to get a look, Neil, at this beautiful complex here in Clarkstown in New City. First, Mr. Holbrook will throw out the first ball for us. A little bit outside.
Thank you, Charlie. Let's play ball, guys.
But anyway, back to our TJ reference, Mark. We should point out that that's Tyler John, son of former Major League pitcher
Taylor
Tommy
John, right?
Taylor John? Taylor John.
No relation to Taylor Dane, by the way. And we're set to go. The umps are going to take their positions. The game balls are in place in the hands of our home plate umpire, Charlie Roberts. Final ground rules being explained to all the players. And once again, a look at the umps. Behind the plate, we'll have Charlie Roberts from Pennsylvania, Cliff Radish from New Jersey at first, Dave Coudet from Connecticut at second base, Rich Apostle, who's from right down the road in Nyack, will be upping at third base. Alan Zeff in left field, Don Wilhelm in right. They are both from upstate New York, representatives of District 16 in the upstate region. Not far up, they tell me, as far north as Albany, but pretty good ways up there. And now Oakland, Maryland takes the field, and we'll set things up for you defensively. At first base is Toby Upton, the second baseman Keith Parks. Over at short is just Jordan Uphold, and at third base, Justin Liller. The outfield from left to right, you'll see Nathaniel Panther, Chris Warfield, and Todd Tasker. Behind the plate will be Jason Heinbaugh, and on the mound is Josh Bosley, son of the coach of the Oakland, Maryland club, Craig Bosley. And Bosley on the way here had a 5-0 record in the qualifying. The first game he pitched was against South County in Maryland. They gave him a lot of run support in that game, Neil. 24-1 the final score. Actually,
Mark, he's had 76 runs to work with in his 5 starts, and pretty tough to lose a game when you have that many runs.
I'll tell you what, the scores he won by 24-1, 16-0. He had one game that was a little bit close, 10-7. The next one was 18-7. And then Laurel, Delaware played this team tough. 8-6 was the game that Josh Bosley wound up winning. And of course, that second game that wound up getting Oakland here to this tournament in New City. They were down 5-2 going into the 7th inning. And Oakland, Maryland played at 8 runs in that 7th, going on to a 10-5 win. So they can put the runs on the board, as we mentioned in the opening. And one of the things we're going to want to watch for, folks, a lot of first pitch swinging, a lot of early swinging, might be swinging at some pitches out of the strike zone. Everybody's a little anxious. We had to hold off 24 hours to get this baby in. Everybody went through batting practice yesterday, and then the rains came, and it was a pretty torrential downpour. But right now, despite overcast skies and the lights on at Zukor Park, we are ready to go. Scott Fiorentino, the right fielder, in at the first pitch. Low for ball 1.
So much for your first pitch swinging theory, Mark.
Well, it was not a pitch in the strike zone. Fiorentino, right-handed batter, and the 1-0 outside for ball 2.
Looks like Bosley's coming with off-speed stuff on these first 2 pitches. Sort of strange that he wouldn't come right at Fiorentino with a fastball. Pitchers usually like to set up their first pitch right away.
The 2-0, he shows bunt, but it's low, and he pulls the bat back for ball 3. The manager of the West Nyack club, John Spadassini, on the coaching lines at third. For Spadassini, it's his first year with the All-Stars. He's been a Little League coach for over 6 years. 3-0 pitch. Again, he shows bunt. It's down low, ball 4. So Fiorentino walks on 4 pitches. And it brings up Brian Deutsch, the center fielder. Left-handed batter. We'll see what kind of a defensive shift Oakland, Maryland wants to put on him.
Outfield will play a step to right here against the center fielder Deutsch.
Center fielder moved over about a step. That pitch up and away. And Bosley, son of the manager, having some trouble finding the range in the early going. We have dimensions of 265 down the left field line, 360 to dead center, and it's 310 to right field. The 1-0 to Deutsch. There's a strike. And after 5 straight balls, Josh Bosley finds the range on the hill. You'll see Justin Liller in at third, pinching the corner, trying to take away that sacrifice bunt. Waiting on the 1-1. Runner goes, and the bunt is down. It'll be fielded by Bosley. Only play is to first. And he just got the runner Deutsch. That was a pretty close play. Bosley nonchalanted it, Neil. Just barely got him.
Tell you, Bosley was a little bit slow getting off the mound there. You sort of wondered the grass may still be a little bit damp after all the rain. Slow getting there, did not throw the ball hard, but was able to get it to Upton in time for the out. But the sacrifice moves Fiorentino to second with one out here on the top of the first.
And it brings up the catcher, Brendan Hart. So we credit Deutsch with a sacrifice bunt. And Fiorentino getting a pretty good sized lead off of there. Second baseman sneaking up behind. First pitch is outside for ball one. Keith Parks on the second base side for Oakland. Playing a little cat and mouse with Scott Fiorentino. Here's the 1-0, and that's a strike on the outside corner. Fiorentino faked the break, but he did not go. Here on deck, batter is the left fielder Tommy Monaco. And again, Parks edges over towards second. The 1-1 fouled off behind the first base bag, well out of play. And the count goes to 1-2 on Hart. This the fourth and final first round game in the double elimination tournament. Yesterday we had Millburn beat Somerset. That was Millburn, New Jersey, defeating Somerset, Massachusetts 8-7 in the second game. Here's the 1-2, strike three called, and Hart goes down. Pretty good looking curveball from Josh Bosley for the strikeout.
Well, Bosley's been throwing mostly curveballs thus far, perhaps saving or setting up the fastball, which we've yet to see, but he had Brendan Hart on the back of his heels, Mark, and he took strike three. So there are 2 men out here in the top of the first.
And a runner still in scoring position. That's Scott Fiorentino. Reached on a walk to lead off the game. Was moved up on a sacrifice bunt. Monaco looks at ball one on the inside portion of the strike zone, or the ball zone, if you will. So Millburn 8-7. They were down 5-0 in the first inning of that game yesterday. They scratched back. In fact, took a 7-6 lead before Somerset tied it. That pitch up and in for ball two. Somerset actually tied the game 7-7 in the bottom of the sixth inning, and then Millburn got a home run, first one of the tournament, go on to the 8-7 win. The first game yesterday, Massapequa, New York, defeating Biddeford, Maine. There's a called strike. The count goes to 2-1 on Monaco. Massapequa winning by a score of 5-0 in the opening game, and the first game here today, they couldn't start until about 2. Bad weather preventing the start of today's game. Norwich, Connecticut beat Lewisburg. There's a pitch down low for 3-1 now. Norwich, Connecticut edging Lewisburg, Pennsylvania by a score of 5-4. So they move on to the winner's bracket. The winner of the game we're watching now between West Nyack and Oakland will be playing Norwich at some point tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. And the 3-1. Inside, gets by the catcher, and we're going to see Fiorentino advancing to third. Second walk surrendered by Josh Bosley. Monaco makes his way down to first. And now we have runners at first and third. And the shortstop, Peter Mulreen, comes up with a chance to drive in a run.
Bosley went to the fastball on that pitch, and I think he crossed up his catcher, Heinbaugh, who was looking for the breaking ball, and that's always a bad idea. If the catcher's looking for the breaking pitch and the pitcher throws a fastball, it could be trouble, and now there are runners on the corners with 2 out.
And the runner at first takes off, no throw down. Give Tommy Monaco a stolen base. Remember back to our Little League days, and we always like to see the catcher throwing down when you had runners on the corners. In fact, the play we used to use was you'd throw to shortstop and try to get the guy coming home. There's a pitch, it's up and away. Evens the count at 1-1.
Actually, with 2 outs, it's not often a bad play to throw through to second.
Get a look at Scott Fiorentino leading off at third. There's a pitch up and away from Bosley, and the count to Mulreen goes to 2-1. Might want to try and work around the big right-handed hitter. He's got a base open. No score here in the top of the first. And the 2-1 swung on it, fouled back, out of play. Evens the count at 2-2. Josh Bosley's thrown a lot of pitches here in the top of the first. Runners at second and third. You can see the back of Tommy Monaco. And the pitch popped up on the infield. Play for the shortstop, Jordan Uphold. He makes the catch to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left. End of half an inning here at Zukor Park. It's West Nyack 0 at Oakland coming to bat. West Nyack takes the field. We'll have Adam Josephart on the mound. And Neil Josephart got some work in the preliminaries coming in. Pitched in a couple of games, as we mentioned earlier. Big right-hander. Beat Nyack Valley College 8-0 and beat Haverstraw in a close one, 2-1. I'll tell you what, Neil, this West Nyack team had a tough time with Haverstraw. They lost to them by an 8-7 score in the early portion of that tournament. Again, that's the preliminaries to get here. And then they beat them 2-1 behind Josephart, and then in the deciding game, came up with a 3-2 win.
In complete contrast to Maryland, to Oakland rather, Mark, the West Nyack squad better known for hitting less and pitching more, should we say. A lot more close games. 4 of their games were decided by a run.
Interesting, it was the first 2 and the last 2, and in between they had a 14-0, an 8-0, and a 10-0 shutout. So it looked like in the middle of that tournament they got the hitting shoes on and the pitchers were doing their thing. And actually they've gotten pretty good pitching all the way around. And we're set to go to the bottom of the first. We'll start set the defense for you, I should say, for West Nyack. At first base, you've got Mike Rusamundo. At second, John Spadassini. The shortstop is Peter Mulreen, and over at third, Jim Flayhive. Outfield left to right, Tommy Monaco, Brian Deutsch, and Scott Forentino. Behind the plate is Brendan Harton. On the mound, Adam Josephart. First pitch from Josephart to Jordan Uphold, fouled off behind third, now to play.
Pretty ominous sky. That's quite a large cloud, although the sun is coming from the other side of the field. The view you're looking at is, I guess, way out in the left field corner.
And not nearly as threatening today as it was on Saturday. And the 0-1 pitch grounded to first. Nice play there, not too difficult for Mike Rusamundo. He makes the play unassisted, so Jordan Uphold is retired. I wanted to mention that first pitch that Uphold swung at and fouled off up and away. Again, what Coach Craig Bosley was mentioning before the game is he was afraid his players might be a little over-anxious, and looked like Uphold might have been on that first pitch. Keith Parks, the second baseman, stepping in now against Josephart, and a fastball misses low and in. We're just underway in the first. 7-inning games for the juniors. And the 1-0. That one off speed, misses outside, 2-0. Interesting thing about the Junior League, Neil, the dimensions are the same as for the big leagues. 60 feet 6 inches from the mound to the plate, 90 feet between the bases. 2-0, way inside. Parks has to bend out of the way. Count goes to 3-0.
That was a breaking pitch, run awry.
And of course the outfield dimensions not nearly as expansive as the Major League ballparks. Here's the 3-0. That one taken all the way. It's the inside portion of the plate for strike one. Looks like Charlie Roberts might have a little bit of a high strike zone working, Neil. 3-1 from Josephart on the way. That one swung on center field and catch made out there. Nice lazy fly ball for Brian Deutsch. No problem getting the range on that, and it retires Keith Parks for the second out.
Parks didn't hit the ball hard, Mark, and didn't hit it far enough to right center that he was going to be able to get that one to drop in for a hit. And already Josephart has thrown but 6 pitches, far less than Josh Bosley threw in the top of this inning.
And Bosley stepping in with 2 men out. That one way outside. Tried to get a little bit too much on that curveball and overthrew it. Did Josephart.
This is the point in these players' careers, at least for the pitchers, where they're really developing that curveball.
That one low and away for ball 2. Interesting. You always want to show off. I know I did when I was pitching back in my Little League days. Always wanted to show off for the opposing pitcher. Of course, when you were playing in the local Little League, you usually knew the guy, and you always wanted to show him your best stuff, or at least try to make him think you had your best stuff. Pitch swung on, grounded out to third base, and the long throw, a little bit high, but Mike Rusamundo is able to corral the throw from Jim Flayhive, and the side is retired in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on for Oakland, Maryland. And through 1 inning, West Nyack, New York, Oakland, Maryland, a scoreless tie. So a pretty easy inning there for Adam Josephart. Ran 1 deep count, Neil, but able to get Oakland out in order. It's got to be a tough go for the pitcher, too. Bosley now, right after he has to haul down to first base, trying to beat out a ground ball right to the mound. And, of course, in the big leagues, you know, they take their time and they lollygag, although they have taken steps to prevent that.
That's right. A lot of the new rules in the major leagues are an effort to try to move Major League Baseball games along. The average time of a Major League Baseball game early this season, prior to the implementation of the rules, was, I believe, 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Going to get a good look now at the ground ball off the bat of Josh Bosley. Got some good aluminum on it. I want to say good wood, but now these kids are using aluminum bats. And then the throw from Flayhive, a little bit of a balloon toss, but Rusamundo able to get up and get it and come on down. They kind of by about a step. Nice relaxed throw from Jim Flayhive.
Back to the point we were talking about before we looked at that replay. So the rules are in place and the games actually have sped up. How much less time now?
It's down to about 2:47 now.
Oh, was it 2:59?
Yeah, they've decreased drastically. Turns out the National League going much quicker than the American. Flayhive leads off. Always get that. The guy who made the play the end of the last inning always leads off, and he takes ball one. Flayhive, a big Tiger fan. John Flaherty, his favorite player. Inside ball two. Asked him why he likes Flaherty. It turns out Flaherty, of course, is from around this area, from right here in Rockland County. So local allegiance for Jim Flayhive. And he waits on the 2-0. That one's inside. He bends away.
This is almost a repeat performance for pitcher Josh Bosley in the first inning, as he threw 3 straight balls, actually 4 straight balls, and walking the leadoff hitter, and he's behind 3-0 here.
And Flayhive taking all the way, watches his strike go right down the heart of the plate. We're going to mention from time to time these kids' major league allegiances. We just want to prove the point that baseball, folks, is not dead by any stretch of the imagination. 3-1 pitch, swung on, line drive, center field, and right in his tracks to make the play is Chris Warfield for out number 1.
Warfield playing straight away and really well positioned to get that ball off the bat of Flayhive. Didn't have to run but 6 or 7 steps, and pretty much all the balls that have been hit in the air so far have been hit almost right at the fielders.
Adam Josephart stepping in, takes a strike down the middle. 1 man out, nobody on, and the third baseman, Justin Liller, pinching in. A couple of steps on the infield grass. There's the 0-1 up high. Bosley trying to get that curveball over against his opposing pitcher. Can't find the range. 1-1 pitch, fastball down low.
Always wondered what goes through the mind of a pitcher when the pitcher is the hitter. You know, there's a little extra something in that mental game between the hitter and the pitcher when the hitter is also a pitcher.
Always want a fastball belt high. There's one right down the middle, swung on and missed. Josephart had trouble catching up with the heat. Count goes to 2-2. Mike Rusamundo, the first baseman, waiting on deck. And the 2-2, up and in. Looked like Bosley may have overthrown that by just a little bit. Again, it's a double elimination tournament here in the Eastern Regionals. Payoff pitch, swung on and foul tipped. Can't be controlled by the catcher Heinbaugh. So we'll have another full count pitch coming up from Josh Bosley. This is the final game of the first round. And the winner of this contest will advance to take on Norwich, Connecticut. 3-2 outside, and Josephart draws a walk. Third free pass. Allowed by Bosley.
Bosley went to the curveball on that 3-2 pitch mark, and again, just didn't really grip the ball all that well and missed the strike zone by quite a bit.
John Spadassini, quite aggressive on the coaching lines in the first. Went for a sacrifice bunt, a stolen base. Josephart takes a pretty big lead, doesn't go on the first pitch down low to Mike Rusamundo. Again, we have overcast skies. The lights turned on here at Zukor Park. 1-0 up high for a ball 2 count. And Josh Bosley looks to be a little bit frustrated here, Neil. They do some house cleaning.
Let's keep our eyes on Joseph Art. He's the runner at first base, getting a pretty good lead, about 4 steps.
Not bad at all. And the 2-0 is up high.
You know, Mark, unlike in the major leagues where if a pitcher gets on base, he'll almost never steal, at this level it's very common to see skippers send their pitchers as base runners.
Anybody can go at any time. It'll be a 3-0. That one's down low. That's ball 4. Rusamundo walks on 4 pitches. 4th walk allowed by Josh Bosley, standing now with hand on hip, looking out towards right field. And going to get a visit from the coach.
Joseph Art, the runner at second. We looked at Rusamundo, who just reached first base on the 2nd consecutive walk by Bosley.
Coach Dave Duckett out there on the sideline, on the first baseline, I should say, having a chat with his catcher, Jason Heinbaugh, and the pitcher, Josh Bosley. Just going to try and calm him down. Again, Josh might be a little over-anxious, having to have a 24-hour wait. We were all set to go on Saturday, and right after batting practice was completed, the rains came to New City, and we had to put this one off for 24 hours. Runners lead off first and second, and the pitch to John Spadassini down low for a ball. It's going to be real important, Neil, for Josh Bosley not to lose his composure here. Can be frustrating when you can't find the range, but you just have to go back and throw your best stuff, and he does right there. A fastball called strike 1. It evens the count to John Spadassini.
That was Bosley's best pitch of the game so far, Mark. Really came at it hard. Good pitch on the inside corner.
Here's the 1-1, and Spadassini tries to bunt his way on, and he pushes it foul off the first baseline.
Pretty good move in this situation, Mark. 1 man out, a couple of runners on. You've got your number 9 hitter up. If he can get those runners into scoring position, it would set up an opportunity for West Nyack to push 2 across the board.
Scott Florentino waiting on deck. And the 1-2 swung on, fouled off of first base. Got a pretty good swing at that. Went with the pitch to the opposite field.
Bosley threw a fastball over the outside portion of the plate. Spadassini did the smart thing with that kind of pitch and actually upped in the first baseman with not a lot of range down at first. So if that ball had been fair, it would have gotten by him and probably have been an extra base hit.
Surprising in that he's holding the runner on, too. Should be able to make those plays rather easily. They're hit down the first baseline. We'll have another 1-2 pitch to Spadassini. It's over his head, and he ducks underneath. We want to watch the runners here with a 2-2 count. Might not be such a bad time to put on a hit-and-run play. 2-2 down low, 3-2, and well, you can bet the ranch. West Nyack will be on the move here.
I'll tell you, Bosley took a little something off that pitch mark, and it didn't miss by much. But West Nyack's been very patient up at the plate so far. They've drawn 4 walks, and key situation here.
Payoff pitch, swung on foul, back behind the plate. Just got a piece of it to Spadassini to stay alive. And we had the runners in motion. Joseph Art, your runner at second. Mike Rusamundo at first. Full count with 1 out here in the top of the second. We are scoreless. And the pitch just missed outside. And that'll load up the bases. 3rd consecutive walk and 5th of the game allowed by Josh Bosley.
Well, to Bosley's credit, it was really not a bad event there as a pitcher. That didn't really come out the way I wanted to, but that time he was able to throw 7 or 8 pitches, went up against a good contact hitter in Spadassini.
Florentino showing bunt, draws it back, and that one's down low. Florentino walked on 4 pitches his first time up, and the third baseman Justin Lillard creeping in as Bosley delivered that pitch.
That's an interesting call with the bases loaded, 1 out, a sacrifice.
Showing again. That one taken for a strike. Certainly not bunting for a sacrifice. He'd be bunting for a base hit with the bases loaded. And the 1-1. That's up high. He laid off. Florentino looked like he wanted to take a hack at that, but no. Showing good patience up there. When you get those fastballs up around your eyes, baseballs start to look like beach balls. 2-1. That one's down low, and it's 3-1. Josh Bosley is in danger of walking in a run here in the top of the second inning. And he really looks rattled out there on the mound. Here's the 3-1. Runners going from first. That one's ball 4. Florentino walks, and Adam Josephart comes home with the first run of the game. It's 1-0 West Nyack.
Scott Florentino will get a run batted in there as West Nyack gets on the board, and Josh Bosley really beside himself. He'll get a visit here from the catcher Heinbaugh as we look at Florentino down at first base. Ducks are on the pond still, Mark, with just 1 out here in the top of the second inning. Heinbaugh will go back behind home plate.
Rusamundo's at third, I should say. Spadassini, the runner off of second, and Scott Florentino leading off of first. Brian Deutsch laid down a sacrifice bunt his first time up, takes ball 1. Deutsch playing center field for West Nyack. West Nyack, despite having a decided home field advantage, playing here at Zukor Park in New City, just down the road. They are the visiting team. 1-0 pitch is on the outside corner. And Josh Bosley, Neil, looks really disgusted. Here's the 1-1. That's down low. Might have been a bit inside. Count goes to 2-1. And every time Bosley gets the throw back from Jason Heinbaugh, the catcher, he's shaking his head, letting out grunts of disgust. 2-1, swung on and fouled at the plate. Hit the catcher before it rolled in fair territory, but it is a foul ball. And the count goes to 2-2 on the lefty hitting Deutsch.
Infield has dropped back now to double play depth. They had been in for the last couple of hitters. Now with a chance to turn a double play that would get Oakland out of the inning.
There's one swung on, a little looper, just foul before it's fielded by the first baseman Upton. So Deutsch not getting a real good swing, a check swing. Looper out to first. Just foul. Might have been a double play had that ball stayed fair. Upton would have stepped on first and probably thrown down to second, trying to get the force on Florentino. Outfield shaded a little bit over to right field. In fact, the left fielder, Nate Panther, making a big run out. Gets by the catcher, and he's coming home. He's going to be tagged out. Adam Josephart. I'm sorry, Mike Rusamundo. In fact, not only did he get tagged out, but he got tagged. Josh Bosley laying the glove on face. So the runners move up on a passed ball, but Rusamundo is nailed at the plate. Ill-advised attempt to score. Not too much distance from the plate to the backstop. Jason Heinbaugh, good hustle to get there, and Josh Bosley made a nice play, Neil, to get to the plate to make the tag.
Sure did. He got there in a hurry and made that a very, very easy play. It was not even close.
3-2 pitch looped out to second and grabbed there by Keith Parks to retire the side, but West Nyack gets a run, no base hits, there were no errors, and 2 men left aboard through an inning and a half here at Zukor Park in New City. Your score, West Nyack 1 at Oakland, Maryland 0. So Deutsch lines out weakly to second base.
Josh Bosley, a pretty lucky individual, Mark. He has issued 5 free passes through 2 innings of work. Counted 6 free passes through 2 innings, and only 1 run has crossed the plate. He has yet to give up a base hit. In fact, when West Nyack has made contact, they have not really hit the ball that well.
A little bit behind on the swings. They are not getting good contact. The one that they did get good contact on was a cue shot down the first baseline by John Spadassini that went foul. That was really the hardest hit ball thus far off of Josh Bosley. So we've got the middle of the lineup coming in to face Adam Josephart. It'll be Toby Upton, the cleanup hitter, Jason Heinbaugh, and Chris Warfield for Oakland, Maryland. A long trip in by bus for these Oakland, Maryland youngsters. As we mentioned earlier, Oakland located all the way out way past Hagerstown, which is, I guess, the last big city of the northwest portion of Maryland before you start to get out there in the West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania area. So a long ride to upstate New York. Some would probably want to tell you this isn't even upstate.
Although where they're coming from, Mark, it probably seems to be that way.
I think for a lot of people outside New York, if it's not New York City, it's upstate. Joseph Hart wheels and deals. The first one swung on and fouled off the third baseline. It'll go out of play. Out by the TV truck, in fact. And Toby Upton gets a good hack.
That ball hit off the roof of a little building next to the light tower up that third base line. Nearly hit our camera person, Tracy Fitzpatrick, who's working the camera down the left field line.
0-1 pitch up and away, and Upton will wait on a 1-1 pitch now coming from Adam Josephart, who scored the game's only run. This one swung on, looped out behind first. Moving over and making the play, Mike Rusamundo.
Rusamundo struggling a little bit with the high sky and backpedaled a ways through that first base coach's box and finally was able to snag it for out number 1. 4 up and 4 down. Joseph Hart having no problem thus far. As we get another look at Rusamundo.
And the pitch from Joseph Hart to the catcher Jason Heinbaugh, taken for a strike. Rusamundo going back on that foul pop, much like his idol Don Mattingly. And I'm sure he'd be real excited to hear about that, both lefties. That one's taken for strike 2. Heinbaugh kind of disappointed in his effort here, as he's watched 2 consecutive strikes go right by. And the 0-2, that's way outside. Joseph Hart wasted one. Waiting on a 1-2 is the catcher Heinbaugh. The pitch, curveball outside. It evens the count at 2-2. Got a good vocal crowd on hand here at Zukor Park. 2-2 pitch. Swung on, fouled off the first baseline. Rusamundo gives chase, but it lands foul in the stands. And the count holds at 2-2.
That ball hit to a pretty similar spot to our camera position up the first baseline.
Tell you what, if these cameras didn't take a beating from the rain 24 hours ago, they are sure taking a rather ominous position today. 2-2 coming, and that one's outside.
Crowd didn't like that one. Good curveball, missed the outside corner by not very much.
And in fact, the catcher Brendan Hart asking home plate umpire Charlie Roberts, where precisely was that? Payoff pitch, swung on, fouled right back. Heinbaugh got a good rip, but he was just a bit behind the Joseph Hart fastball. 1 man out, bottom of the second inning. Get a look there at the catcher Heinbaugh. Swung on, foul, popped up, I should say, sky high. The second baseman going out and making the catch. Had to wait a long time, did John Spadassini, but he makes the grab. That ball high enough, Neil, for Scott Fortino, the right fielder, and Brian Deutsch, the center fielder, to have made a play on that if they needed to, but Spadassini had no problem, and with 2 men out, we get the center fielder, Christian Warfield.
Joseph Hart throwing with a lot of confidence. That pitch was not in the strike zone, but when it's going your way, good things happen. Next pitch is hit in the air on the infield. The shortstop, Mulreen, is there and grabs the pop out for the 3rd out. Another 1-2-3 inning here, Mark, in the bottom of the 2nd.
And Joseph Hart's retired the first 6 to face him at the end of 2 innings. It's West Nyack 1, Oakland, Maryland 0, and we're back with more from Zukor Park after this. Welcome back to Zukor Park in New City. Mark Ernay along with Neil Jordan as we bring you the 1995 Eastern Regional Junior League Championship Tournament. The winners of the tournament to advance to the 13-year-old World Series to be held in Taylor, Michigan. West Nyack, the visiting team, even though they have a decided home field advantage against the team from Oakland, Maryland, with a 1-0 lead. And coming in to lead off the bottom of the 3rd inning, or I should say the top of the 3rd inning, is the catcher Brendan Hart. Hart struck out looking his first time up, and he looks at a called strike from the pitcher Josh Bosley.
It's been a very different game so far for these 2 clubs. West Nyack has spent a lot of time at the plate with just 1 run to show for it.
Swung on and foul tipped by Hart. And the count goes 0-2. Pitch not quite in the strike zone. Hart a little over anxious.
Oakland, Maryland, on the other hand, has yet to reach base in this game, as Adam Josephart for West Nyack has pitched well.
Swung on and missed. There's strike 3, the first strikeout of the game for, or I should say the second strikeout of the game for Josh Bosley. Both times, in fact, he nailed Brendan Hart. And it brings up the left fielder, Tommy Monaco. Monaco walked his first time up and stole second. Only stolen base in the game thus far.
This is an important inning for Josh Bosley. He has had a rocky couple of innings. This is actually, he started off the second inning by getting the first batter retired, but proceeded to walk 4 in a row, which led to a run.
And he looks at a ball outside. Bosley has walked 6. West Nyack has left 4 runners on through the first 2 innings. And the 1-0 pitch way outside for ball 2. Peter Mulreen, the shortstop, waiting on deck. Again, the lights are on here at Zukor Park. Overcast skies and a pitch up high. 3-0 now on Tommy Monaco.
Third baseman Justin Lillermark playing way up on the grass down at third base.
Showing bunt, taking all the way for ball 4 is Tommy Monaco, and he walks for the second time. That's the 7th walk allowed by Josh Bosley.
The contrast in those 2 at-bats, he looked real good, Bosley did, in pitching to the catcher Brendan Hart, but comes back and walks Monaco on 4 pitches. And Mark, it looks as if we're going to get a pitching change here with just 1 out in the top of the third.
Dave Duckett, the pitching coach, on his way out, and it looks like Keith Parks is going to get the ball. A little bit of a switch coming up here as Bosley will go out to second. And Keith Parks will make his way in from second base. They'll give him a few warm-up pitches. And he'll be ready to go. For Parks, did not get any decision in any of the qualifying games. The one thing this allows Oakland, Maryland to do, Neil, is in not taking Bosley out of the game, they can always bring him back on the mound at some point. Maybe just give him some time to cool off, get his composure back. He did allow 7 walks in 2 1/3. Parks comes into a pretty tough spot. You always want to be able to throw from a full windup when you first come into a game. Unless, of course, you're a dedicated closer, but at this level, we don't have anything like that.
I was just thinking a lot of pitchers spend their entire career only pitching from the stretch. A guy like Lee Smith has not thrown, actually, and even when Smith it doesn't have to pitch from the stretch, he's one of those pitchers who has that
your
sort of
closers usually just come in and throw from the stretch right to begin with. And I would think for a guy like Lee Smith, unless he's been throwing from the windup in his backyard in the offseason, probably hasn't done it since his Little League or high school days.
Keith Parks, a lanky right-hander.
Looks like he's got a pretty good fastball, too. He's shown some speed in the warm-ups. And he's all set now. Peter Mulreen will come up with a man on. Mulreen, the shortstop, hopped up to short his first time up.
Once again, third baseman Josh Liller is in tight for Oakland in a possible sacrifice situation for Mulreen. First pitch is fastball in the dirt and outside for ball 1.
Good play by Heinbaugh to keep it in front of him and to prevent Tommy Monaco from heading to second. Toby Upton, the first baseman for Oakland, Maryland, holding on the runner. That pitch is up high. It just missed. 2-0 count on Mulreen.
Let's keep an eye on Monaco, Mark. He had a stolen base in the first inning, has good speed, and with a new pitcher on the mound, it's always a good time to send the runners.
And Josh Bosley playing second base now, cheating a little bit towards second as he and the shortstop Jordan Uphold are at double play depth. Justin Liller at third base, creeping in, a couple of steps on the grass, and a 2-0 is down low for ball 3. So I think we see a little bit of a nervous habit developing here for the Oakland, Maryland pitchers. Bosley had a tough time finding the range. Now Parks goes 3-0 to the first batter he faces, and that one's up high and inside for ball 4. That's the 8th walk allowed by Oakland pitching. Mulreen trots down to first.
Well, Monaco didn't have to steal second. He got the base freely this time. So Mulreen down at first base, and you're looking at Tommy Monaco, the left fielder. He's at second with only one out here in the top of the third, and the batter is Jim Flahive.
Jim Flahive hit a good shot out to center field his first time up. It was caught, and he takes ball one. Chris Warfield caught the ball in the first inning, right in his tracks. Should say the second inning. Flahive led off that second frame.
Flahive, a long look down at third for the signals. He may be bunting here.
Bosley playing cat and mouse at second, and the runner goes. The throw down gets by the third baseman into the outfield, and Monaco not able to advance. But on the play, Peter Mulreen moves on down to second base. So we'll credit Monaco with his second stolen base of the game.
Okay, we're going to get another look at this one, Mark. This was the kind of play where if the throw had been handled, we probably would have seen the out. Here comes the pitch in, showing bunt is Flahive, and Heinbaugh grabs the high fastball and takes it down to third base. Looks like Liller is a little bit slow getting there. He doesn't quite grab the ball. A little bit of a collision at third, and all hands are safe.
And that one to Flahive, taken for a ball. Now 3-0. Mulreen moves down to second on the error. So 2 stolen bases for Monaco in this ball game. Runners at second and third with a man out here in the top of the third inning. 3-0 pitch is low for ball 4, and that is the 9th walk of the game allowed by Oakland.
Not a painful walk as they go, as first base was open, although the bases are loaded with one out. Flahive's at first base, Mulreen down at second base, and Monaco, who stole third moments ago, so ducks on the pond all the way around with only one out.
And Adam Josephart, the West Nyack pitcher, coming up with the bases loaded. Josephart walked and scored his first time up. He scored the only run of the game thus far. And we're going to get Craig Bosley on the way out to talk things over with his pitcher, Jason Parks.
Interesting, Mark, how the conversations are up the first baseline at this level. You don't usually see the managers come all the way out to the mound.
Well, you know, they're sitting in the dugout on the bench. It's a relaxing summer game. Let the kids walk a little bit, get some exercise.
Some would say
Why not?
Some would say that the managers are the ones who actually need the exercise.
Managers work hard all week. Nowhere to put Josephart, and the pitch from Parks is up high and away. We've got the bases loaded for West Nyack. They've got a chance to add to a 1-0 lead here in the third. Still a lot of time left in this game. We've got 7 innings worth of baseball to play. A 1-0 pitch up and away.
Keith Parks, Mark, looks like a pitcher who knows he has no place to put this hitter. Pitching very tentatively with the bases loaded.
Good leads for all 3 runners, and this one outside, ball 3, and now Keith Parks has dug himself quite a hole, Neil, and he will need to find the range here. I would not be surprised to see Josephart swinging all the way.
Infield is in on the left side with Liller and Uphold. Bosley and Upton are back even with the bag on the right side.
And the 3-0 pitch is up high. Josephart walks to force in a run. Tommy Monaco trotting in from third. West Nyack leads 2-0.
So Adam Josephart helping his own cause. He scored the first run of the ball game with a 1-out walk in the first.
You'll see the 3-0 pitch coming up from Keith Parks. And Neil, it's not even close.
Took a little something off it, and the pitch was high and almost away. Mike Rusamundo steps in, still only 1 out as he takes a pitch high for ball 1.
Rusamundo walked his first time up. Runners lead off first, second, and third. This one's up high as well. It's 2-0 now. And again, we see some really dejected reaction from the Oakland, Maryland pitchers. Keith Parks on in relief. Interesting defensive alignment here with the shortstop back, first, second, and third in, and the 2-0 pitch is taken by Rusamundo for a strike.
Josh Liller, the third baseman, conveniently in on the grass. Second baseman Bosley almost on the grass.
2-1, swung on, it'll be grounded out to short. Only play now to third base, they get the force. But a run scores as Peter Mulreen crosses the plate and on the fielder's choice. West Nyack extends the lead to 3-0.
Well, that strategy actually paid off, Mark. The shortstop, Jordan Uphold, was well positioned to get to that ball. Had he been in, that ball might have gone through for a 2-run single, and making a smart play and throwing to Josh Liller down at third to get the second out. But in the process, Justin Liller, but another run comes across, and it's a 3-0 lead for West Nyack.
John Spadassini, the second baseman, walked his first time up. He comes up now with runners at first and second, and he takes the ball. 10 walks allowed by the Oakland, Maryland pitching staff already, and we are only in the third inning. Wind starting to pick up a little bit. The sky's darkening overhead. 1-0 pitch, strike call. And Spadassini, a little surprised, thought that one was high. We mentioned, Neil, at least you mentioned, the disparity in size among 13-year-olds at this stage. Spadassini among the smaller players on the West Nyack roster. Runners at first and second. Leading off of second is Josefard. Rusamundo off of first, and the pitch nearly gets by the catcher, Heinbaugh. Good stop there.
Mark, despite Spadassini being the smallest player on the West Nyack roster, he had a real good at-bat his first time up and is hanging tough here.
Hit a hard line shot down the first baseline, and another good stop by Heinbaugh as the count goes to 3-1 on Spadassini.
Jason Heinbaugh has been very busy in this game. The runners are Josefard at second and Rusamundo down at first as Josefard takes his lead off of second.
Getting a real good size lead. He's about a third of the way to third base already. Bouncing around. This one popped up over the head of the shortstop into shallow left. It falls in for a base hit, fielded by the center fielder. And Josefard holds up at third. It loads up the bases. First base hit of the ball game. John Spadassini with a 2-out single in the third.
So Spadassini down at first base, admiring his handiwork. Nice little hit, a Texas leaguer into short left center field. Chris Warfield playing just a little bit deep and was not able to get there. Interesting that Josefard stopped at third. He had such a big lead off of second. He probably could have scored, or at least it would have been a very close play at the plate as Scott Fiorentino steps in.
And he swings and lines one right back through the box into center field. A run will score. RBI single for Scott Fiorentino, and West Nyack takes a 4-0 lead.
First pitch, a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Scott Fiorentino wasting no time and was able to hit that ball right back through the box. An RBI single for Fiorentino. 4-0 West Nyack, and we'll get another look at this one. Keith
Fastball
Parks throws a fastball and
went right back as fast as it came in.
That's right. So 2 straight hits. And now 3 runs in the inning for West Nyack as Brian Deutsch becomes the 9th batter in the inning, Mark.
And he swings at this one. It's fielded by the shortstop, Uphold. Long throw to first. He gets him in time to retire the side. But West Nyack comes up with 3 runs on only 1 base hit. There was 1 error, and there were 3 men left aboard. We are at the end of 2.5 innings here at Zukor Park in West Nyack, I should say in New City, and your score is West Nyack 4, Oakland, Maryland 0. Bottom of the third, and Nathaniel Parker, the left fielder, leading off for Oakland. He took ball 1 from the pitcher, Adam Josefard. And he takes ball 2 up and in. 4-0 West Nyack, New York in the lead against Oakland, Maryland. Here in the final first round game of the 1995 Eastern Regional Championships for the junior leagues. And the 2-0's up high. And I'll tell you what, Neil, Jim Flahive, the third baseman, wound up about 10 feet from home plate when that pitch hit the glove of Brendan Hart, the catcher.
Well, Panther was just flailing his bat as if he was going to bunt. And it's interesting, a lot of the kids seem to be doing that when they're going to take a pitch.
Here's a 3-0. It's inside for ball 4. Panther walks. He's the first runner of the game for Oakland, Maryland.
Well, Adam Josefard spent a long time off the mound. West Nyack batted around in that inning, and the only tough thing about your team doing well is as a pitcher, you have to wait a long time between throwing, and that may have thrown Josefard off. First pitch is a fastball to Justin Liller, and it's taken inside for a ball. So Josefard has now thrown 5 straight pitches out of the strike zone. Panthers got a pretty good lead, about 4 steps down at first base. He's being held on by Rusamundo.
And a throw over. Easy soft toss, just to show him he's paying attention from Adam Josefard. So Oakland, Maryland in a hole, 4-0 here in the bottom of the third. And he's picked off. Runner picked off. Rusamundo running at him. He throws down to shortstop and with the tag. No, he dropped the ball. Be an error on the shortstop, Mulreen. Joseph Hart had the runner, Panther, picked off at first. Rusamundo running him towards second base, unleashed the throw, but it couldn't be handled by Peter Mulreen. It'll be an error on the shortstop, and we'll get a good look at it here, Neil. A textbook rundown, but it wasn't completed as effectively as it began.
Well, Rusamundo makes a nice throw, but as you can see, Mulreen just has trouble grabbing it. And if he holds on to the ball, he makes the tag play, and Panther is out by quite a ways at second, but he doesn't. And now nobody out and a runner in scoring position.
And the 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike by the third baseman, Justin Liller. And it just goes to show you, we've heard this from the time we could hold the ball in a glove. Got to use two hands to catch that ball. Swung on, fouled right back our way, lands on the roof above us. And the count goes to 1-2 on Justin Liller. Todd Tasker, the right fielder, on deck. As we are in the bottom of the third from Zukor Park in New City, West Nyack, New York. The visiting home team leading 4-0. Joseph Hart steps off. Get a look at the runner at second base, Nathaniel Panther. He walked to start the inning, and now Liller asks for time and gets it from the home plate ump, Charlie Roberts.
1 ball, 2 strike count here. Mark Liller hoping to do something to move Panther down to third base where he could be scored rather easily.
Got a nice big hole in that right side of the infield, and the 1-2 pitch is up and away for a ball. The West Nyack second baseman, John Spadassini, playing way over towards second up the middle. And there is a big hole on the right side of the infield between the first baseman, Rusamundo, and the second baseman, Spadassini, who makes his way back to his position as the 2-0 pitch is up high for ball 3. So we've got a full count now on Justin Liller. He takes a look down at Coach Craig Bosley.
Joseph Hart threw 2 consecutive similar pitches. Fastball's a little bit high. Let's see if he comes back with a low pitch this time.
Payoff pitch up high, ball 4. Second straight walk issued by Adam Joseph Hart. And Neil, you might be right. That idle time as West Nyack batted around in the top half of the inning may have had an effect on Joseph Hart. And right now, the coach, John Spadassini, is going to make his way out to the third base line, have a chat with the catcher, Brendan Hart, and his pitcher, Joseph Hart. I should say Adam Joseph Hart. Don't want to confuse anyone.
Sounds as if he has 3 names there. Adam Joseph Hart. Perhaps related to Jim Hart, great New York Yankee and San Francisco Giant, third baseman, first baseman. Taking a look at the runners, Nathaniel Panther is down at second. He reached on a leadoff walk. And Justin Liller is at first base. He just walked. And Adam Joseph Hart now with his work cut out for him. He's going to pitch to Todd Tasker with nobody out here in the home third.
And again, a big hole on that right side of the infield. Strike 1 called as Tasker watches a pitch cut right through the heart of the plate.
Now, if this is not a textbook sacrifice situation, I don't know what would be, although Flahive is not in that far at third base.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking to throw, I'm looking to put a ball right through that hole on the right side of the infield. Throw over to first, not in time, as Lillard dives back in safely. But Mike Rusamundo holding the runner on at first. Spadassini, the second baseman, way over towards second, playing quite a game of cat and mouse with that runner over there, Panther. And there is a really huge, Neil, it's 90 feet between the bases. There's about a 75-foot hole on the right side of the West Nyack infield. Pitch swung on. Whoa. He missed that by a mile.
Well, perhaps this might be just some good managing. You're dealing with the number 9 hitter in Tasker, so perhaps Spadassini gambling that Tasker doesn't handle the bat well enough to put the ball in that hole.
Looked like he tried to, and he was behind the pitch by Adam Joseph Hart. Here's the 0-2 outside for a ball. Interesting strategy employed here by manager John Spadassini of West Nyack.
And again, it seems surprising that Tasker wouldn't have been trying to bunt earlier in this at-bat.
Here's the 1-2 way inside, and a good fielding play behind the plate by Brendan Hart to prevent a wild pitch. 4-0 lead, not an insurmountable challenge for Oakland, Maryland by any stretch. And we mentioned at the outset, in their final qualifying game, just to get here, they were down 5-2. 2-2 pitch up high and outside for 3-2. Joseph Hart getting a little bit annoyed at himself.
certainly not helping matters. He went ahead of the number 9 hitter 0-2 and has cut back with 3 fastballs, all out of the strike zone in different places.
I started to mention Oakland was down 5-2 in their qualifying game. They scored 8 runs in the 7th. This one swung on, fouled off the third baseline. It's going out of play. And Tracy getting another look at a foul ball. Probably a little bit closer than she'd like them to be. Tracy, our camera person, off the third baseline. And the count stays full on Todd Tasker. Jordan Uphold, the shortstop, waiting on deck. Nobody out, first and second. That one swung on, fouled straight back behind the plate and into the backstop.
So Josephart comes back with 2 straight strikes, but Todd Tasker able to handle both of them fairly well.
That pitch, Neil, might have been ball 4. It looked like it was a little bit high in the strike zone. Tasker reached up for it. Of course, the modern day strike zone, a lot different from the strike zone of 10 or 15 years ago. Payoff pitch swung on and hacked out to left center field. Over to make the play is Brian Deutsch for out number 1, and the runners do not advance.
Another pitch up in the strike zone, similar to the last one, Mark, so perhaps not a strike. Tasker hit the ball in the air pretty high, and an easy play for Deutsch out in center field, and a lazy enough fly that Panther, the runner at second, had no opportunity to tag up and advance. So 1 out, top of the batting order for Oakland in Jordan Uphold, the shortstop.
And he's now having a conference midway between third base and a home plate with Coach Craig Bosley. Talking a little strategy here, the lefty hitter. You're going to want to try and pull it to advance at least the runner at second, Nathaniel Panther.
Second baseman Spadacini now back in a more normal position down at second base.
Playing a pretty deep second, too. Trying to cut off the angle. This one swung on, foul down the third base line. It'll go out of play again, out near the truck, and it just missed the TKR Sports truck. Guys, I hope you were ducking in there.
Good pitch by Josephart there. Good fastball, and Uphold found himself way behind.
So it'll be an 0-1 count now to Jordan Uphold. He grounded out to first his first time up. 0-1 pitch, swung on, grounded out by second base, gets by the second baseman into center field, and can't be handled out there by Deutsch. And a runner's going to score for Oakland, Maryland. They're right back in it now. They trail 4-1 as Panther scores on the base hit and the error by the center fielder Brian Deutsch.
Well, a clean RBI single there for Jordan Uphold. I think even if the ball had been handled by Deutsch out in center field, Panther would have scored, but the error enabling Justin Liller to get all the way around to third, and Jordan Uphold able to get to second after his sharp single to center as Oakland gets on the board. As you see, Uphold leading down at second with 1 man out here in the bottom of the third.
Well, you're a lot more friendly scorer than I am. The pitch to Keith Parks, the current pitcher, is a ball outside. Parks started the game at second base, came on in the third inning after the starter Josh Bosley allowed his 7th walk of the contest. This pitch down low and in for ball 2.
Flahive, the third baseman, Mark, is holding the runner Justin Liller down at third. That's an unusual thing to see. Gaping hole on the left side of the infield.
And the pitch taken by Parks for a strike. It brings the count to 2-1 now. And you're right, an interesting bit of strategy by John Spadacini on the coaching lines for West Nyack. Runners off second and third, 1 man out, bottom of the third, and the pitch down low. Count to Parks goes to 3-1. Adam Josephart having a tough time finding the range. Neil, he retired the first 6 batters he faced, but he's had a tough time here in the third inning, allowing a couple of walks and a base hit. And Oakland trailing now 4-1. This is the tying run at the plate, and Parks takes a strike right down the middle. I think it's a matter of timing here. That was a very hittable pitch, but Parks must have been looking for something else. Didn't even attempt to swing.
Well, he'd seen 3 straight curveballs, so perhaps looking for the 4th.
Payoff pitch, swung on, grounded out to second, and the play made. And Rusamundo throws home, it'll be late. Good hustle on the base paths by Liller. He scores from third on the grounder by Keith Parks. And Oakland crawls to within 4-2.
Well, Keith Parks getting the job done. He hit the ball on the ground and was able to bring the runner Justin Liller in from third base, and Jordan Uphold able to move down to third on the play. So an RBI ground out by Keith Parks, and it's now a 4-2 game. So Oakland with 2 runs in this inning on the benefit of just 1 base hit.
And Jordan Uphold moves over to third. So a runner on third with 2 men out for Josh Bosley. And Bosley takes a strike. He was the starting pitcher for Oakland. Moved out to second base in the top of the third.
Jordan Uphold will take his lead in foul territory down at third base with 2 men away here in the bottom of the third.
The 0-1 pitch to Bosley up high.
Looked pretty good. Didn't miss by much as he took a little something off it, did Joseph Hart. Mark, he's thrown a lot more pitches, Joseph Hart has here in the third inning than he did in the first 2 innings combined.
Indeed. Indeed, and it all comes on the heels of a long layoff. That one taken for strike 2. Wes Nyack batting around in the top half of the third, so Joseph Hart had a long layoff between innings.
Tell you, Bosley a little bit upset there. That was a real nice curveball from Joseph Hart, and Bosley knew it.
Bosley's feeling quite a complex. Wasn't pitching real well, gave up 7 walks, and now he's getting hammered on the bases. Line shot out to Spadassini. Can't be handled. It rolls into right field, and Uphold scores on the base hit by Bosley. And it's now a 4-3 game. So Oakland, Maryland showing their explosiveness on offense, Neil. They are right back in it. Scored an error, tough error on John Spadassini.
Josh Bosley, as you see down at first base with a real sharp hit. He hit it right at Spadassini, a hard one, and Spadassini just could not handle the ball. An RBI single for Bosley. And now Oakland, Maryland down just a run, and Joseph Hart's going to have to keep his eye on Bosley as he steps off.
And actually, it was scored an error on the second baseman, Bosley. I'm sorry, the second baseman, Spadassini. Bosley on the move, the pitch outside, the throw from Brendan Hart, not in time. It bounces before reaching the shortstop covering. And a stolen base for Josh Bosley with 2 men out. So Oakland, when they get the chance, Neil, on the run. And we'll see the jump he got. Pretty good pitch to handle for Hart. But again, a good jump by Bosley. Pitch taken for ball 2. And now Brendan Hart's going to go out and have a chat with Adam Joseph Hart. Going to try and calm his pitcher down. Wes Nyack clinging now to a 4-3 lead in the bottom of the third inning. There are 2 men out for Oakland, but the tying run is in scoring position. Toby Upton fouled out to first back in the second inning. And Joseph Hart wheels and fakes a toss to second, chasing Bosley back.
Do you think the cat and mouse game is even more intense between the pitchers when you see a pitcher on base like Josh Bosley is right now?
I think so. This one swung on down to third. It's just foul, fielded by Flahive.
Because it looks, Mark, as if Bosley is really caught up in trying to keep Joseph Hart shaken up.
It's interesting. You always get a game of one-upsmanship. We mentioned it when the pitchers are facing each other at the plate. And I think, yeah, when you've got the pitcher on base also, now he's behind him, especially at second base, gets a little bit better look at his stuff from behind him. Always want to have a little one-upsmanship. This one looped into center, long run, and over the head of the center fielder, Deutsch. The tying run's going to come around to score. And Upton cruises into second after an RBI double. Bosley scores easily to tie this game at 4.
Toby Upton really gave that ball a ride, Mark. Joseph Hart took a little something off it. That pitch was high in the strike zone. We're going to get another look at this base hit from Toby Upton from the stretch position. And again, Upton just reaching out and hit that ball a long way. Deutsch had to run a long way out in center field. It was over his head, scoring Jordan Uphold easily, as you'll see Deutsch getting, well, just about to get to the ball. Sort of did a helicopter thing out there to get there, finally picks it up and gets it in. But before he does so, you'll see Toby Upton go into second base. Well, maybe we won't see him, but he's there. A 2-base hit for Upton, and we have a 4-4 tie.
You can see him now taking a pretty short lead. Grounded to third. Flahive fields it. He'll have a long throw, but he gets the batter in time to retire the side. But not before Oakland, Maryland comes up with 4 runs. There were 2 base hits and 1 error, a man left on. And at the end of 3 innings from Zukor Park, we have a tie score. West Nyack, New York 4 and Oakland, Maryland 4. Back with more after this. Welcome back to Zukor Park here in New City, New York. I'm Mark Renee along with Neil Jordan, and we head to the top of the fourth, and West Nyack, New York and Oakland, Maryland tied up at 4 apiece in this final first-round game of the double elimination Eastern Regional Tournament in the Junior League Championship.
And Mark, it appears that Oakland, Maryland has gotten starting pitcher Josh Bosley off the hook. Bosley left this ball game trailing by the score of 4-1, and actually Keith Parks now the pitcher of record in the game, and a lot of help out there. In fact, Josh Bosley was one of the people who contributed to that big inning for Oakland, Maryland. Bosley reached on an error, didn't get a run batted in. He stole a base, caused a runner to score, and all kinds of pandemonium in that 4-run inning.
West Nyack batted around in the third. Brendan Hart has struck out twice, and he'll lead off against Parks here in the top of the fourth, and he takes a ball up high. Keith Parks came in with one man out in the top of the third. Gave up 3 walks of his own and a couple of base hits. I should say 1 base hit. But he did leave the bases loaded. This one low and away. Skips by the catcher Heinbaugh. So it'll be a 2-0 count on to Brendan Hart. Left fielder Tommy Monaco on deck, and he'll be followed by the shortstop Peter Mulreen. As West Nyack had a 4-0 lead, but Oakland, Maryland clawed back, and they have tied things up through 3 innings. 2-0 pitch down low, and Hart showing bunt. The third baseman crawling in was Justin Liller. And he'll stay about 3 or 4 steps onto that infield grass off the third base line. 3-0 pitch. Outside, ball 4. That is 11 walks now allowed by Oakland pitching.
That's the first time West Nyack has led off the inning reaching base with a walk, but again, as Mark pointed out, way too many walks, and Brendan Hart must have been happy not to strike out that time as he reaches base for the first time in this game. In fact, there's only one West Nyack player who hasn't been aboard, and that's center fielder Brian Deutsch, as Tommy Monaco steps in.
And Monaco has walked twice. Pickoff throw gets by the first baseman Upton, and Brendan Hart will make his way down to second. An errant pickoff throw by Keith Parks. That is the 3rd error of the game.
Well, that's the first time Parks had actually gone down to first base in this game, and not a good throw. And Brendan Hart, the catcher. Catcher's not likely candidates to steal, so perhaps not a wise move by Parks.
And the pitch now to Monaco, fouled off behind the plate, out of play. I should say the 2nd error committed by Oakland, Maryland in this game. There was 1 error in the 3-run third for West Nyack.
Monaco has stolen 2 bases and has reached twice on walks in this game.
0-1 pitch swung on, grounded into that shortstop hole, and it won't be handled in time as Monaco beats it out for an infield base hit. And on the play, Brendan Hart advances to third. So a tough play for the shortstop, Jordan Uphold, and we'll see Uphold making a break towards second, trying to keep Hart close by.
And here's the replay again. That ball is hit hard to the left side of the infield, and because Uphold is holding the runner down at second base, he's got a long run to get into the shortstop hole to make the play, and by the time he gets there, the throw will not get there in time, and it's an infield single for Monaco.
Mulreen coming up, and the runner takes off, and he'll make it in standing up without a throw. Monaco with his 3rd stolen base of this game, Neil.
And that one was really an easy one. Actually, that's the 2nd time in this game, Mark, that he's had a freebie like that, because in the first inning, Florentino was down at third when he reached base.
And the 0-1 to Mulreen, taken for a ball. It's 1-1. You've got a good look there at Peter Mulreen, the shortstop. He popped up the shortstop in the first, walked in the third. He came around to score. And he waits on the 1-1 pitch. Keith Parks working from the stretch, swung on, looped out to left center field. And the runner at third is going to look to tag up. Here he comes, and on the way home is Brendan Hart. And he makes it in sliding. West Nyack takes a 5-4 lead on the sacrifice fly by Peter Mulreen.
So Peter Mulreen hitting that ball a long way. We're going to get another look at this one. And here it comes as we'll see the pitch coming from Parks. And this ball hit a long way to left center field by Peter Mulreen. Nathaniel Panther, the left fielder, is going to get camped out under this one way out there. Brendan Hart, the catcher down at third, will wait for his chance to leave as that ball sort of lazes out there. It's finally picked up by Panther. Now let's get a look at his throw coming in from left field. It's a nice strong throw, but it's cut off by Uphold, and not before Brendan Hart scores the 5th run of this game for West Nyack.
Flahive took a ball, and this one's outside. And that throw was so good, in fact, from Panther into shortstop that Monaco did not have a chance to move up to third. So that's why you need to hit the cutoff man. 2-0 pitch. Parks again working from the stretch as Monaco heads back to second. Parks stepped off. Lillard playing right in at the cutout on third base. 2-0 pitch way outside. Keith Parks has some room to play with here. Flahive, who has flied to center and walked. But there is an open base. 3-0 pitch. That one taken all the way right down the middle for a strike. So it's 5-4 now. West Nyack in the lead. And Flahive waits on a 3-1 pitch from Parks. It's up high, ball 4. That is the 5th walk allowed by Parks. 12th free pass issued to West Nyack in this game.
Jim Flahive is running down to first base. He's now walked 2 consecutive at-bats, and West Nyack not content coming into this inning with the score tied at 4. They have picked up a run. Brendan Hart walked and scored.
Going to get a pinch runner now, Neil. Number 35, Mike Lavia, making his way out. And he'll run for Flahive. So they're going to try and set up a little run and gun here. Will West Nyack put some more speed on the base paths. Adam Josephart stepping in with runners at first and second.
Jim Flahive got a real nice hand from a capacity crowd here as he ran off the field.
He sure did. Adam Josephart, the pitcher for West Nyack, stepping up. He's walked twice and scored twice. And we're in the top of the 4th. Pitch in the dirt, gets knocked down by Heinbaugh. Throw down to third, not in time, but a wild pitch allows Monaco to move up to third. And on the throw down, Lavia, the pinch runner, moves up to second. We'll get a look here. Pitch in the dirt. Heinbaugh jumped right on top of it. Strong throw down to third, a little bit high. Can't be controlled by the third baseman. And in his effort to go back and tag Monaco coming over, it looked like the third baseman, Lillard, had a tough time with it. And it allowed Mike Lavia to move up to second. So we've got runners now second and third. A 1-0 count. Josephart takes a strike.
Tell you, if the throw had been good there, Monaco would have been out. He overslid third base there. And again, because the throw was high, Lillard needed a lot of time to turn around and tag Monaco, and by the time he went to do so, Monaco was back in the bag safely.
So Monaco moves up on the wild pitch. And Lavia, the pinch runner, moves up on the throw. 2-1 count now to Adam Josephart. Infield creeping in all the way around. 2-1, swung on, grounded out to second base. Runner at third, hold. Now he's heading home, and the throw coming home, not in time. West Nyack scores another great hustling play. And sliding in with a run is Tommy Monaco.
Credit Adam Josephart with a run batted in there. He was able to bring Monaco in from third. He hit the ball hard to the right side of the infield, but Josh Bosley well positioned to make the play, made a smart throw to first to get the safe out. That was the second out. We'll get another look at this play.
And Bosley did what he had to do, Neil. Ball was hit to him. He looked the runner back to third, made the throw to first. Interestingly enough, we see Lavia making his way. He was about 3/4 of the way down to third base, so they could have been into a sticky situation there, but good hustle by Monaco, and he scores the 6th run. It's now 6-4, West Nyack.
There are 2 men outs as Mike Rusamundo steps in. The first baseman has reached on a walk and hit into a fielder's choice. Swings and misses.
Rusamundo swinging and missing. I think that might be, for West Nyack at least, the first ball that's been swung on and missed. They have been getting a piece of the Oakland pitching thus far. 2 outs, top of the 4th. Mike Lavia, the pinch runner, leading off at third. And the pitch to Rusamundo down low. We'll get a look at Lavia. Right now being held on. Interesting shot through the backstop. Parks working from the full windup here, and a pitch swung on, grounded. Nice play by Parks, and he throws to first. to retire the side. So West Nyack comes right back. They score 2 runs on a 1 base hit. There was 1 error and 1 man left aboard at the end of 3.5. Your score, West Nyack, New York 6, Oakland, Maryland 4. Back to Zukor Park for more after this. And we're back at Zukor Park here in New City. 3.5 innings completed. In fact, we're halfway home, Neil Jordan. I'm Mark Renee in West Nyack, New York. You can see it on the scoreboard there. Leading by a score of 6-4 against the team from Oakland, Maryland.
And we should probably point out that it's Oakland, Maryland, and not Oakland, New Jersey. Isn't Oakland also served by TKR, Oakland, New Jersey?
It very well be.
I believe that's the case.
TKR Sports bringing you the 1995 Eastern Regional Junior League Championships. This is the final first-round game. And the pitch from Adam Josephart to the Oakland catcher, the Oakland center fielder, Chris Warfield. Leading off the fourth. This one a grounder, stopped by the shortstop. He'll pick it up and throw to first. What a play by the shortstop, Peter Mulreen. Mulreen going to his knees to field the hot shot. And he got Warfield by a good 1.5 steps.
Credit Mulreen for making a real great play on a very hard hit ball by Chris Warfield.
Panther coming up. Nathaniel Panther walked and scored his first time up in the 3rd inning. 6-4 the score. Josephart throws, and it's fouled into the Oakland, Maryland dugout area. Line scores through 3.5. West Nyack with 6 runs on 2 base hits. They have committed 2 errors and left 8 men aboard. For Oakland, Maryland, through 3 innings, 4 runs on 2 base hits. They have committed 2 errors and have left but 1 man on. The 2-1 pitch outside to Panther for ball 3. Justin Liller waiting on deck.
Adam Josephart has gone all the way for West Nyack. He's looked good through 3 1/3, although Racky in that last inning in the 3rd. As ball 4 taken by Nathaniel Panther, the off-speed pitch missing down and away. And Mark, that is the 3rd walk issued by Adam Josephart.
Brings up Justin Liller, who has also walked and scored. And we see the catcher, Brendan Hart, pointing down to the second baseman, Spanassini, making sure Spanassini knows to cover in case of a throw down to second. Pitch on the outside edge, misses. Liller getting the signs from Coach Craig Bosley, asking for time as he gets himself set. Rusamundo holding the runner on at first, and the 1-0 pitch outside for ball 2.
Josephart retired the side in both the 1st and 2nd innings, but the 3rd inning a little bit more eventful for him as he walked a couple, and Oakland was able to push 4 across to tie the game.
2-0 taken for a strike. Good curveball, had a lot of motion from Josephart. Well, we talked about it at the outset and in the opening, Neil. Oakland, Maryland averaging 13.5 runs a game in their area tournament just to get to this point. So they can put some runs on the board. 2-1 pitch, runner goes. Throw down to second by Hart, not in time. Fielded cleanly on a bounce by Spanassini, but a stolen base for Chris Warfield. For Nathaniel Panther. And we'll get a look. It was a pretty good throw to handle, and Hart came out of the box very quickly. Nice strong throw. 1 hopper down to Spanassini, but Panther right there with the stolen base. Might have been a mistake fielding that ball by Spanassini. Looked like he was behind the bag a bit. You need to come up right on top of that bag and swipe the tag back. 2-2 pitch outside, gets by Hart, but not far enough for Panther to advance.
Yeah, I think Spanassini should have been right up in front of the bag, actually, because remember, the closer you are to that catcher's throw, the better the chance you're going to have to make the tag play. Panther got into second base safely.
Payoff pitch inside for ball 4. That's 2 straight walks allowed by Josephart.
He's issued 4 now in the game, Mark, and almost a mirror image of what happened in the third inning. Panther and Liller walked back-to-back to open up the third. They both went on to score. Now with one out, Panther at second and Liller at first base, both courtesy of walks. So we'll have a conference out for West Nyack.
John Spadassini chatting with the pitcher Adam Josephart and the catcher Brendan Hart. Always found it interesting. The pitchers never hold the ball during mound conferences.
Why is that? Well, let me ask you, you were a pitcher a lot more than I was.
I don't know. I
Did your
always
dad
wanted
hold
the ball. I wanted the ball. I held the ball.
You held the ball?
I'm pitching. Give me the ball. I'll hold it.
I thought your dad would take the ball out of your hands.
Never had a problem holding the ball.
No? Perhaps your dad did want to take the ball out of your hands.
Maybe he did. In fact, once I remember him chasing me all over the field trying to get it. And the pitch comes in to Todd Tasker down low for a ball. We've got Nathaniel Panther leading off second. You'll see him creeping into the picture as he takes his lead. In fact, there he is now. Justin Liller over at first. And Panther fakes a break. Pitch inside for ball 2 to Todd Tasker. Tasker flew out to center field his first time up. Some defensive changes for West Nyack. Mike Lavaya stayed in the game. He's playing third base now. And actually a couple other changes too. Pass them along to you. As Joseph Hart wheels and fakes over to the new second baseman, Doug Moore. Moore replacing John Spadassini. Steve Rowe now playing first base. And the 2-0 pitch from Joseph Hart. Up and away. Tasker really in the driver's seat here. It's a 3-0 count. Tasker representing the go-ahead run. Oakland down 6-4, but they have runners on first and second with one man out, and this pitch is taken for ball 4. Third straight walk issued by Joseph Hart, 5th of the ball game, and the bases are loaded for Oakland.
Nathaniel Panther standing down at third. He walked with one out in the inning. That's Todd Tasker at first, and he's actually going to be pinch run for here. Justin Liller in the background down there at second base. The pinch runner, Mark, is number 1, Michael Browning for Oakland, Maryland.
So the bases are loaded. Jordan Uphold, the lefty hitter coming in. He grounded to first and singled and scored in the third. So the tying runs are in scoring position for Oakland here in the bottom of the 4th. And Joseph Hart pitching from the stretch. First pitch up high. This is an interesting call on the part of Adam Joseph Hart, Neil. You're a young pitcher, 13 years old. Usually you get better leverage and more behind the ball, pitching from the full windup. But Joseph Hart going from the stretch. The 1-0 pitch is a strike called on the outside corner.
Infield is in 3/4 of the way around. The first baseman, Monaco, the only one who's playing almost even with the bag here on a 1-1 count with one out.
Justin Liller is leading halfway down to third off of second. This one swung on and popped up into shallow center field. Deutsch coming on, and he makes the catch, running it in to hold the runner at third, making the long throw into the plate. But a nice play by Brian Deutsch for the second out of the inning. Deutsch made a nice running catch coming in. We're going to get a good look at this one as Uphold got a good swing, and he popped it up to center field. Deutsch, like any good center fielder would, with a runner at third, coming in to make the catch, getting his momentum going towards home plate where he's going to want to throw. And he made a nice strong throw to hold the runner, Panther, over at third base. So 2 men out now with the bases loaded, and Keith Parks comes up. He takes a strike.
Another one of those pitcher versus pitcher matchups here. Parks, the relief pitcher in the game for for Oakland in place of the starting pitcher Josh Bosley.
And he swings in an 0-1 and misses to go in the whole 0-2. So again, we haven't seen much swinging and missing in this game from either club. But now Adam Joseph Hart for West Nyack in the driver's seat. Bases loaded, 2 men out. Joseph Hart trying to extricate himself from a sticky situation here in the bottom of the 4th. To the belt and the pitch. Outside, ball 1. Got away from Brendan Hart, but the catcher hustling back to hold Panther at third. Infield playing at regular depth. The 1-2 swing and a miss. Joseph Hart strikes out Parks to retire the side. Oakland goes down. They do not score. No runs, no hits, no errors. 3 men left aboard. 4 innings complete here at Zukor Park. And your score, West Nyack, New York 6, Oakland, Maryland 4. Neil Jordan, a very good pitch. Nice hard fastball upstairs by Joseph Hart. You know when those fastballs are upstairs, a lot harder to hit. And we saw Keith Parks not laying any aluminum on that.
Give Adam Joseph Hart a lot of credit, Mark. He pitched himself into a real tough situation after retiring Chris Warfield on a ground out to short to start off the bottom of the 4th. He walked Nathaniel Panther, Justin Liller, and Todd Tasker in succession, loading the bases. And with 1 out, he got Jordan Uphold to fly out to center and then really came at Keith Parks, like you said, and threw a couple of real high, hard ones. And Keith Parks was really overmatched. Joseph Hart recording his first strikeout of the game to retire the side in the bottom of the 4th.
You can't have better timing than that for your first strikeout of the game either.
Good shot at the lights, of the lights, rather.
I'll tell you what, we got to look at the opening of this beautiful facility here at Zukor Park. I lost count of how many diamonds there are, but there are 4 sides to the facility that we're in right now, and there's a field at either side. Now, I think we have 4 or 5 fields going here, and we have a couple of soccer fields. Clarkstown, New City, they're doing a heck of a job drawing a nice crowd. Tony Fasano, the PR guru, putting things together on the public relations side, coordinating things on that end, doing a fine job. And we have
there's the soccer field, Mark.
Look at the soccer field. This is really a nice looking facility for not the largest populated town in all of New York, but a very nice facility, among the nicest, in fact, that I've seen in quite a long time. In fact, this facility here reminds me a little bit of Beehive Field up in New Britain, Connecticut, which has a soccer field. And actually, Beehive Field, the home of the now the Hardware City Twins, or the Rock Cats, they call them, the Twins affiliate. But the New Britain Red Sox had played there for quite a few years, an affiliate of the Boston Red Sox in the Eastern League. We head to the top of the 5th now. Hope we killed enough time for you there. And Doug Moore, who came in as a defensive replacement for John Spanacini in the bottom of the 4th, takes a ball from Keith Parks, and it's now 2-0. Doug Moore waiting on a 2-0 count. Time called now as the umpire Charlie Roberts makes an equipment adjustment. Doug Moore, believe it or not, Neil, one of only 2 Mets fans on this West Nyack club.
That's a little disappointing, wouldn't you say?
Well, the Mets have kind of fallen on hard times. 2-0 pitch, and Moore looks at ball 3.
I don't know, Mark. When we were kids, we weren't giving up on the Mets that easy, and they certainly fell on some hard times back in the 1970s when we were the age that these kids are.
3-0 pitch. Moore looks at a strike on the outside edge. Moore to be followed by the leadoff hitter Scott Fortino, and then the center fielder Brian Deutsch here in the 5th. West Nyack with a 6-4 lead. And the 3-1 pitch from Parks down low for ball 4. That is the 13th walk surrendered to West Nyack in this game.
It's the 6th walk issued by Keith Parks, pitching in relief of Josh Bosley in this game. He's issued 6 free passes now in an inning and 2/3 of work, so pretty much having the same kinds of problems that Josh Bosley did.
And the pitch down low, the throw as the runner heads for second. Did he hold it? He held the ball. He's out at second base. Doug Moore taking off on a pitch in the dirt. Jason Heinbaugh got a good throw behind that one out to second base to nail Moore for the first out of the inning, and that is a big play defensively. We'll see now, Neil, if that means a shift in momentum here.
Well, Jason Heinbaugh made a heck of a throw, and even a better play by Josh Bosley holding that ball down at second base. And now we've got a conference out at the mound. It's going to be a team-wide conference for Oakland, Maryland, as the umpire's doing some work.
Some mound trouble. Charlie Roberts going out. It looked like Keith Parks may have stepped in a hole on that delivery, which could be the reason that the ball came up well short of the plate. And Craig Bosley, the Oakland, Maryland manager, sensing a problem, got right out there and asked the home plate ump to join him. So Charlie Roberts tries to fill that hole in. Keith Parks will do some house cleaning of his own, and we'll get back to action here. But a strong throw by Jason Heinbaum and nailed Doug Moore as he headed for second base. We'll call that a caught stealing. Scott Fiorentino stepping in. He's 1 for 1. He's walked twice, including once with the bases loaded. He's got a couple of RBIs. He knocks this one into right field. A lazy fly ball, not handled out there by the right fielder, Todd Tasker, and into second goes Scott Fiorentino. They're scoring it a hit all the way. So a double for Scott Fiorentino into right field. A high fly ball out there. Todd Tasker could not handle it. May have lost it in this gray sky, Neil. And, you know, you got to credit the kids. This is a tough sky to play ball in. The lights are on, as we showed you here at Zukor Park, but we have had overcast conditions throughout the day, and it is a very darkening gray sky, a very dark shade of gray, in fact. So Todd Tasker having trouble picking it up, and it brings up Brian Deutsch, the center fielder, who made a fine defensive play in the bottom of the fourth. First pitch from Parks outside for ball 1.
Fiorentino's double, his second hit of the afternoon. West Nyack with 4 base hits to go along with their 6 runs, and Brian Deutsch is the only West Nyack player to not reach base in this game.
Sacrifice bunt, a line out to second, and a grounder to short, accounting for Deutsch's 0 for 2. And he takes the ball. It's 2-0 now on the West Nyack center fielder. The catcher, Brendan Hart, waiting on deck. West Nyack looking to extend a 6-4 lead. Parks steps off and steps off again. Deutsch taking some practice swings in the on-deck circle. You see the back of Scott Fiorentino, number 27, leading off his second with 1 man out. 2-0 pitch down low and in for ball 3. And I'll tell you, Neil, all things considered, West Nyack has not had to swing much aluminum today. They have been the recipients of 13 walks among Parks and the starting pitcher for Oakland, Josh Bosley. 3-0, taking all the way, and it's a strike.
They've also left a lot of men on, Mark, 8 through the first 4 innings, and they're working on their 9th right here. This is a very close game, and West Nyack could have broken it open on several occasions.
It'll be a 3-1 pitch to Brian Deutsch, and it's up high for ball 4. So Deutsch finally gets off the schneid and reaches base. 7 walks now allowed by Keith Parks to match the 7 allowed by the starter Josh Bosley, and it brings up the catcher Brendan Hart. Hart struck out his first 2 times up, reached on a walk and scored his last time up in the 4th inning, and he's got a chance now to do some damage with a runner down at second in scoring position, and the person of Scott Fiorentino, who reached on a double. 6-4, West Nyack in the lead. Showing bunt is Hart, and he pulls back but takes a strike right down the middle.
Justin Liller, the third baseman, again cheating in onto the grass. He's looking for the sacrifice here. As we get another shot of Liller.
We'll watch Fiorentino take his lead. Not too large a lead. Pitch down low, curveball. Might have been overthrown a little bit by Keith Parks. And the count goes to 1-1 on Brendan Hart.
Oakland not holding the runners on as intently down at second base as they had been earlier in the game.
Swung on, looped into center field, and settling under it to make the catch, Chris Warfield throws into the shortstop. Uphold to hold the runners on at first and second. And it looks like John Spadassini having a chat with Scott Fiorentino at second. I think probably what should have happened on that play, Fiorentino should have been tagging up.
Absolutely.
On a play to the right side.
That ball was certainly hit deeply enough that it would have been the kind of play where Fiorentino could have at least tried to advance. And when you're up 2 runs, it's not a bad play at this stage of the game.
2 men out for Tommy Monaco, the left fielder. He swings and misses at a fastball up high. Monaco has walked twice and singled. He has stolen 3 bases in the game, and he scored twice. Really full plate for Tommy Monaco, the left fielder wearing number 29 today. And he waits on an 0-1 pitch from Keith Parks. Up high, same as the first, but this time Monaco lays off to even the count at 1-1. Club starting to arrive for our next game. 1-1 pitch outside for ball 2. This is the final first-round game of this double elimination Junior League Eastern Regional Tournament. In the first game, Massapequa, New York, I should say, defeated Biddeford, Maine 5-0. Millburn, New Jersey then defeated Somerset, Massachusetts 8-7. 2-1 pitch up high. And just before this game, it was Norwich, Connecticut, edging Lewisburg, Pennsylvania by a score of 5-4. The winner of this game meets Norwich in the winner's bracket tomorrow at 11. I should say Monday, August 7th at 11 a.m. It'll be a 3-1 pitch now. It's swung on, chopped over the mound, up the middle, deflected off the glove of the shortstop, uphold into short right field, and hustling around third to score, sliding, is Scott Forentino, and West Nyack takes a 7-4 lead.
Tommy Monaco hitting the ball into the ground hard and high, and that ball bouncing right towards the bag at second. It looked as if there might be a force play on Brian Deutsch. If one of the middle infielders could have gotten to the ball, Uphold gave it his best shot, but it was a little bit too high. As he tried to leap and grab it, it went off of his glove. As we'll get another look at this off the bat of Tommy Monaco. He hit a ball right up the middle. And again, take a look at the shortstop Uphold. He just reached and couldn't get it. It went off his glove. It went off Bosley's glove. The ball rolled out onto the short part of the grass in the outfield. And while that happened, Scott Forentino scored from second base. First run of the inning, and it's a 7-4 lead for West Nyack.
The shortstop Peter Mulreen steps up and takes a strike from Keith Parks. Mulreen is 0 for 1. He's popped to short, walked, and hit a sacrifice fly. The 1-0 pitch outside from Keith Parks. Get a look at the score. Very exciting third inning here. It's now 7-4 in favor of West Nyack. We're in the top of the fifth. There are 2 men out. The 1-1 pitch in the dirt, handled by Heinbaugh. The count goes to 2-1. Mike Lavia on deck. And Neil, let's not confuse Lavia with Lavalier.
I was already thinking that.
2-1, it's way outside. Nice dig out of the dirt by Jason Heinbaugh. Heinbaugh shows some nice defensive skills working behind the plate.
Heinbaugh has probably been the busiest player on the field for Oakland. He's had to handle a lot of rough pitches.
And I'll tell you what, if he played hockey, he'd be a sure goaltender. He's been making some fine glove stops behind the backstop tonight. Line drive into right, and it falls in front for a base hit in front of Todd Tasker, and it loads up the bases with 2 out here in the fifth.
Peter Mulreen down at first base went with a fastball over the outside part of the plate and hit it on a line right in front of Tasker. Bases are loaded here as West Nyack is not ready to give up here with a 7-4 lead.
Mike Lavia coming up. It'll be his first at-bat of the game. He came on as a pinch runner in the fourth for Jim Flahive, the starting third baseman. So we've had 3 base hits for West Nyack in this frame. Lavia looks at a strike. Batting here with the bases loaded and 2 men out in the top of the fifth. Again, West Nyack officially the visiting team, even though this is their backyard. They played several games on this field throughout the year. 0-1 pitch outside. Again, handled nicely by Heinbaugh. Heinbaugh shows some good mobility behind that plate. And he's needed to. Here's the 1-1 from Parks inside. Interesting contrast. Parks works from the windup with the bases loaded. West Nyack's Adam Josephart works from the stretch, or has worked from the stretch. I guess you go with whatever you're comfortable with. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Gets by the catcher, Heinbaugh. But no attempt to advance by West Nyack. Not sure what might have happened down there at third base. But Brian Deutsch was out there. Could have had a chance to score. Heinbaugh did get back to the ball quickly at the backstop.
He might have remembered what happened back in the second inning when Mike Rusamundo tried to score from third on a wild pitch like that and was thrown out on a good play by Heinbaugh.
Here's the 2-2 to Lavia, outside ball 3, and it'll be a full count to come. We'll have 3 runners in motion, leading off of third, Brian Deutsch. At second, Tommy Monaco, and at first, Peter Mulreen. Bases loaded for West Nyack, and they have a chance, Neil, to blow things open here in the fifth. Mike Lavia waiting on a 3-2 pitch. There go the runners. The pitch is outside. Ball 4. Lavia gets an RBI. Deutsch touches the plate, And that's the 8th West Nyack run. They lead 8-4.
Big pitch there for Keith Parks, and he just was not able to rise to the challenge, went to the fastball. That's what the young kids usually do in situations like that, but he missed the strike zone by a good deal. Brian Deutsch scoring the 2nd run of the inning. Tommy Monaco moves down to 3rd, Peter Mulreen to 2nd. Mike Lavaya now down at first base. Ducks still on the pond with 2 outs here in the visitors' 5th and a conference out on the first base line.
Craig Bosley out there to talk with the pitcher Keith Parks and the catcher Jason Heinbaugh. Sacks full of West Nyackers wearing their brown uniforms with the white sleeves and the yellow numerals.
Looks like the old San Diego Padres colors. Are they, or actually have they changed unis recently?
Well, they've changed within the last couple of years, but they got away from that horrendous color scheme many years ago. So the bases are loaded here for Adam Josephart. He's got a chance to give himself some help on the offensive side. He takes the ball up high.
And that's to say nothing for the colors that West Nyack have chosen. They actually look a lot better on these kids' uniforms than they ever did in San Diego.
Oh, they certainly do. Josephart walked twice, scored twice, and his last time up grounded out to second base. Takes a strike. It evens the count at 1. West Nyack ahead 8-4. They have the bases loaded with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. 15 walks allowed by Oakland pitching. Here's the 1-1, swung on, back to the box, knocked down by Parks. He throws to first to retire the side, but not before West Nyack plates 2 more runs on 3 base hits. There were no errors. We had 3 men left aboard at the end of 4.5 here at Zukor Park. Your score is West Nyack, New York 8, and Oakland, Maryland 4. Back with more after this. All right, we're back here at Zukor Park. Mark Renee and Neil Jordan as we head to the bottom of the 5th. We have got an 8-4 score. West Nyack in the lead. A run in the 1st. A run in the 2nd as we check the line score. 3 in the 3rd, 2 each in the 4th and 5th for West Nyack. Oakland with the big 4-run 3rd inning that at the time tied the game, but they have fallen on hard times since then. And, boy, I'll tell you what, the damage could be a lot worse. West Nyack has left 11 runners on base through their first 5 times at bat. Coming up here in the 5th for Oakland, Maryland, the first baseman Toby Upton to start things off. He'll be followed by the catcher Jason Heinbaugh and the center fielder Chris Warfield. And Adam Josephart back on the mound. He's gone all the way thus far for West Nyack. Set the defense for you again as we go along. First pitch swung on, grounded out to shortstop, and the throw in time. Good play out there by Peter Mulreen to retire Toby Upton. Upton now 1 for 3 in this ballgame. Jason Heinbaugh coming up. He's 0 for 2. Defensively for West Nyack at first base, we've got Steve Rowe. He came in the 4th inning. At second is Doug Moore. The shortstop, Peter Mulreen. The third baseman, Mike Lavaya. First pitch from Josephart to the catcher Heinbaugh is outside for a ball. The outfield left to right, Tommy Monaco, Brian Deutsch, and Scott Forentino. They started there. 1-0 pitch swung on and missed by Upton. Bosley led off the inning with a ground out to short. I'll get my act together. Those between innings meals catching up. 1-1 pitch swung on, hot shot to third, picked up there, and a long throw. Good stretch by Rowe, or Moore, I should say, to make. No, it is Rowe, and he makes the play. Lavaya fielding the hot shot, making the throw to nail Upton. A fine play. Let's see if we get a good look at that one on the replay. Lavaya set, hot shot off the bat of Upton, went to his knees to knock it down, stayed with it. Got up and made the strong throw. Neil Jordan, what a play by Mike Lavaya, and a good play on the receiving end by Steve Rowe.
Actually by Monaco, Mark, but you're right. All hands, excellent effort there. Lavaya almost sitting on that ball, but made a real great throw to get the out.
Another one for Lavaya, and this one a little bit easier. He makes the throw, and the side goes down in order. No runs, no hits, and no errors. And nobody left. 5 complete now at Zukor Park, and West Nyack, New York, leading Oakland, Maryland by a score of 8-4.
So Adam Josephart really has settled down after a rocky 3rd and part of the 4th inning. Has retired the last 5 after walking 3 in a row. Oakland had a chance to really tighten up this game, although they're still very much in it, trailing only 8-4 as we head to the 6th inning. Mark, during that last break, I got a chance to talk to some fans from Oakland, Maryland. It's, they say, about a 7.5 hour ride. That's without stops, but of course you have to make a couple of stops when you make a trip that large, and it's 2 to 2.5 hours away from Pittsburgh.
And I would think when you're bringing a dozen 13-year-olds from that far away, you're going to make a lot more stops than you might think. I'm sure they had the Nintendo going on the way over, the Game Boy, and a whole bunch of other things happening on that bus, I'm sure.
There's a look at your score. West Nyack leading in the game 8-4, and West Nyack has scored in 4 of the 5 innings that they've batted so far. They've been real active. 6 base hits in the game, 13? I've lost count of the walks, Mark. 15 walks, right. So an average of 3 per inning.
Got some housekeeping going on at the mound. We saw in the last inning Keith Parks having some trouble with the area right in front of the pitching slab, that landing area, if you will, being filled in now by the grounds crew here at Zukor Park. And I'll tell you what, Neil, something else that 7.5 hour bus ride will do, especially for a bunch of kids who haven't played together a lot before, as we get a look at the nice crowd here at Zukor Park in New City. Despite the weather, pretty good crowd. And again, they're expecting upwards of 10,000 people to attend this tournament, which will conclude on Thursday the 11th. Actually, I guess Thursday is the 10th. I'll have to get my calendar straightened out, too. But it is a double elimination tournament. This is the final first round game. The winner to take on the team from Norwich, Connecticut. The loser of this game will go into the loser's bracket to take on Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Here's Jason Heinbaugh. We were talking, Neil, last inning. He's had to make several fine defensive stops, and he's really got some good mobility. He moves to his left and right very well. And he's got a pretty good arm, too. We saw him throw out base runner earlier trying to steal second.
Jason Heinbaugh has really kept his club in the game with some stellar defensive work. As you pointed out, Mark, he's had to deal with a number of pitches outside of the strike zone. And in addition, West Nyack has been very active on the bases. They have stolen, let's see if we can get the countdown. I count, what do you count, 4?
There's 3 for Monaco.
Right.
His first trip to the plate came on as a defensive replacement for Mike Rusamundo in the bottom of the front. Parks on the inside corner, taken for a strike.
Keith Parks
swung on, popped up foul by Toby Upton, but he could not make the play. And well, I'll tell you what, Jason Heinbaugh could have gotten himself hurt running towards that fence. Good hustle by the Oakland, Maryland first baseman and catcher. And I'll tell you what, they were both very lucky to come away uninjured on this one. We see Upton going full speed towards the fence and Heinbaugh as well. And boy, I'll tell you what, not only did they nearly collide, but they hit the fence pretty good. 0-2 pitch swung on, grounded out to second base. Bosley makes the play over to first. And Rowe is retired for the first out in the 6th inning.
And for only the 2nd time in this ballgame, Keith Parks has retired 2 hitters in a row.
Brings up Doug Moore. Also came in as a defensive replacement in the 4th. Moore walked his first time up back in the 5th and was caught stealing. And he takes the ball now from Keith Parks. We'll set the Oakland, Maryland defense for you as we did the West Nyack defense in the last half inning. At first is Toby Upton. Second, you have Josh Bosley. Jordan Uphold at short. And the 1-0 pitch taken for ball 2. At third is Justin Liller. The outfield left to right, same as at the start of the game. Nathaniel Panther, Chris Warfield, and Todd Tasker. Jason Heinbaugh behind the plate. And on the mound, you see him there, Keith Parks. 2-0 pitch. Down low, ball 3.
Hope I didn't jinx Keith Parks in pointing out that he had retired 2 in a row. He has issued 8 walks in 2 2/3 innings.
8 of the 15 free passes allowed to West Nyack. Here's the 3-0 to Moore, taking all the way, and boy, shying away from that one too. Not a good sign when a pitch goes out on the outside corner and a right-handed batter is shying away. He was fooled badly. Not really digging in too deep there in the batter's box. 3-1 outside. Ball 4, second walk for more in this game. That's 9 now allowed by Parks, 16 overall, and Scott Fiorentino comes up. He's been on base all 4 times he's been up. He's walked twice, and he's got a single and a double. Scored 1 run, driven in 2. He's had quite a busy day. Hasn't seen any action in the outfield, and he takes ball 1.
Fiorentino showing bunt, and Justin Liller, who has spent a good part of his day down at third on the grass, is cheating in as Fiorentino asks for time. Now he settles in, looks to bunt again.
And he draws back up high again. It's 2-0. And now Moore calls time down at first base.
Justin Liller is pretty daring down at third. On that last play, Mark, he was almost halfway to home plate coming in from third base. In fact, we can see him. He's starting in real tight, and we'll keep our eye on Liller on this 2-0 pitch.
Get a good look at the back of third base umpire Rich Apostle. Up high, ball 3, throw down, and he's out. Another throw down to second by Jason Heinbaugh, nailing Moore for the 2nd time in this game, and that's a big play defensively for Oakland, Maryland. Again, Neil, we'll see if the momentum shifts.
Well, another interesting play as Doug Moore had the green light, did not get a good jump, and Jason Heinbaugh made a terrific throw, and Jordan Uphold there, and plenty of time to put the tag down. So quickly there are 2 outs here in the top of the 6th.
Second out of the inning, and Fiorentino showing bunt again. The count goes full 3-2.
It's a good pitch to hit. I'm surprised that Fiorentino was showing bunt.
Correction, 3-1 now. Scott Fiorentino, the right fielder, facing Parks. It's up high, ball 4, and yet another walk for West Nyack.
So Fiorentino still perfect today, reaching base for the 5th time in as many tries.
Center fielder Brian Deutsch stepping in. You get a good look at Fiorentino and the first baseman down there, Toby Upton. Deutsch is 0 for 2. Pitch gets by Heinbaugh on his way to second. Standing up, Scott Fiorentino. Another wild pitch from Keith Parks.
No shortage of wild pitches in this game. And tell you, Fiorentino actually got a real good jump. It looked as if he was going to steal the base anyway, and he was helped out by a bad pitch by Parks.
I'll tell you what, we've got an 8-4 score, and this pitch is way outside. Heinbaugh snares it for a 2-0 count. But, Neil, I'll tell you, we've got an 8-4 score, top of the 6th inning. 17 walks have been allowed to West Nyack, and this game could be a lot worse in the scoring department as far as Oakland's deficit. But West Nyack left 11 men on through the first 5 innings, and the pitch taken for a strike by Brian Deutsch.
Well, when you consider that you can only leave 15 men on through 5, that'll give you an idea of how busy the bases have been for West Nyack.
2-1 to Deutsch, is low and away for ball 3. You know, the one thing we were talking about at the outset with both coaches, in fact, before the game, when we mentioned it on the opening, is that these kids might be a little bit anxious and want to swing at pitches out of the strike zone. That has not been the case today for West Nyack. 3-1 pitch, swung on, looped out behind short. It's going to fall in for a base hit. And here comes Fiorentino. He makes the turnaround third, and he'll make it easily. West Nyack taking a 9-4 lead here in the 6th.
Brian Deutsch, Mark, doing exactly what you'd want your number 2 hitter in the lineup doing. He went with a pitch over the outside part of the plate, stuck the bat out, and hit a little looper in the shallow left center field in front of Warfield and Panther. RBI single for Brian Deutsch. It's his first run batted in the game, and West Nyack extends their lead to 9-4 with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning.
Folks at home are going to notice that you said Deutsch, Mark, by the way.
Pretty good considering I wasn't even trying.
So Brendan Hart comes up. He's 0 for 3. He might be the only West Nyacker without a base hit in this game, and he takes ball 1. Hart has struck out twice, walked and scored in the 4th, and in the 5th inning he flied out to center field. It's 9-4, West Nyack leading with 2 outs here in the 6th. Brian Deutsch leading off of first, and a swing and a pop-up out behind second base. Josh Bosley with the call. He makes the catch to retire the side, but not before West Nyack puts another run on the board on 1 base hit. No errors and 1 man left. 5.5 complete here at Zukor Park in New City, and your score is West Nyack, New York 9, Oakland, Maryland 4. Neil Jordan, we're going to get another look at that last play. The pop-up off the bat of Brendan Hart. And I'll tell you what, he hit that a country mile up in the sky. And Josh Bosley doing what any good second baseman should do, calling long and loud, I've got it, and he sure did.
As you can see, a capacity crowd here at Zukor Park as we reach the middle of the 6th inning. West Nyack leading in this ball game by 5 runs. They are the visiting team, which seems a little bit strange because we're not all that far from West Nyack. A long way for Oakland, Maryland, and Oakland, Maryland with their work cut out for them, trailing by 5. And as you pointed out, Mark, they could be much further behind in this game.
They have been somewhat fortunate in that 12 men now have been left on base through the 6 innings. By the way, we've reset the both defenses as we've gone along here. I think it's only fair that we give the umpires their due. Charlie Roberts is behind the plate. Cliff Radish at first base. Dave Couday over at second. Rich Apostle from nearby Nyack at third. And in the outfield, a couple of upstaters, Alan Zeff in left and Don Wilhelm in right. The umpires, as any good umpires have in their favor, Neil, they've not been real visible today. That's always nice to see.
And have called a real tight game. Strike zone has been fair for both sides. Plenty of walks in this game.
Yeah, we've been moving along pretty well considering that we've had 13 runs scored. We're just over the 2-hour mark here. And we'll see Chris Warfield leading off for West Nyack. Some bullpen action for Oakland, I should say. And we've got some bullpen action going down the first baseline for the Oakland, Maryland club. Had a ball get away out there. We'll have some time out on the field as they retrieve the ball. Actually, they were waiting for a ball. They sent the pitcher down there to warm up, but they forgot to send him with the horse side. So Chris Warfield leads off, to be followed by Nathaniel Panther and Justin Liller here in the bottom of the 6th for Oakland. They are in a 5-run hole right now, but it's not something they haven't seen before. And the first pitch from Adam Josephart is down low for ball 1. Warfield has not yet had an official time at bat. Actually, I stand corrected. Warfield is 0 for 2. He's popped to short, grounded out to shortstop on a nice play back in the 4th inning by Peter Mulreen. And he takes another ball, 2-0. Josephart has a lot of room to work on the mound there. 2-0. Outside ball 3. But, of course, he doesn't want to get himself in too big a hole. We've spoken at length about the offensive prowess of this Oakland, Maryland team. They averaged 13.5 runs in their area tournament just to get here. 3-0 all the way taken. And it's a strike to Chris Warfield.
This has been 2 different games for Adam Josephart. He's had 3 perfect innings and almost a 4th. But
and not a perfect inning here in the 6th as Chris Warfield draws a leadoff walk, his first free pass of the night. And that is the 6th walk allowed by Adam Josephart. And it brings up Nathaniel Panther, the left fielder. He's walked twice, has stolen a base and scored a run. The diminutive Nathaniel Panther. 9-4 is your score. First pitch to Panther down low. Nice stop by Brendan Hart behind the plate. Tell you what, Neil, both of these catchers show some good defensive skills. Panther showing bunt. Pitch taken. And I'll tell you what, Brendan Hart held that one for the home plate ump Charlie Roberts to see, and he thought it was a strike. Adam Josephart on the mound thought it was a strike. Charlie Roberts didn't, and I'm sure Nathaniel Panther agrees. 2-0, and the pitch down low for ball 3. Hart showing the runner at first, Chris Warfield, that he knows where he is. Wants to keep him close. He fakes a throw.
Hart's going to go out and say a couple of words to Adam Josephart.
Steve Rowe over at first holding on the runner, Chris Warfield.
I want you to keep your eye mark on Nathaniel Panther this time because I think Panther is developing a habit that could be a little bit dangerous. When he's going to take all the way, he does this bouncing motion, this bouncing bunting motion with his bat. We saw him do it earlier in the game. This is an obvious take situation.
And the take, a strike. 3-1 now.
To his credit, he didn't do it that time. That was a much better way to handle it because if he had wanted to bunt on the ball, he actually would have had a decent chance, although that was not a bunting situation with a 3-0 count trailing in the game.
And the pitch is up high, ball 4, second straight walk, 7th of the game allowed by Adam Josephart. And it puts runners at first and second, and just like that, Neil, we talked about Oakland's offensive endeavors to this point, and they're getting their chances. So I'm going to have a pinch hitter here. Justin Liller being pulled in favor of a pinch hitter, Michael Sheehan. Sheehan wearing number 7. So Sheehan's got a chance to put Oakland right back in the thick of things here. They trail by 5. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th, and the pitch from Joseph Hart is low and away for ball 1. Chris Warfield leading off of second. You'll see him creep into the picture as he takes his lead. Nathaniel Panther at first base. Steve Rowe, the West Nyack first baseman, playing behind, and the pitch up high. That's 2-0 now on Michael Sheehan. And the 2-0 is a strike on the outside corner from Adam Joseph Hart.
Nice curveball by Joseph Hart. He may be tiring, but he has not really lost much on his stuff. He's still throwing the ball pretty much the same way he was early on.
2-1 outs, inside I should say. It's 3-1 now, and I have a feeling that John Spadaccini is going to want Joseph Hart to go as long as he can. They've got to come right back here on Monday and play another game. 3-1 pitch, right down the middle, strike 2 called. So the count goes full, and with nobody out, we'll see what Craig Bosley, the Oakland manager, wants to do about this. I'm not so sure we're going to see the runners going in a 5-run deficit. Pitch swung on, fouled off the first base side, out of play onto the adjacent field.
And that might have been ball 4, Mark. That pitch was up and away. But Sheehan protecting the plate. I guess you've got to do that when you're down 5 runs.
And we talked about it earlier. When they get those pitches up in the strike zone, they look big as beach balls, and you want to take a hack. And fortunately for Sheehan, he got a piece. Another payoff pitch coming. Swung on, out to shortstop, where it's thrown on to second for 1, on to first. Not in time for the double play, but a nice effort by the shortstop, Peter Maureen. Made the pivot over to second. And Doug Moore tried to get the double play, but not enough time to get it done. We're going to take a look on replay. You'll see it wasn't really hit that hard coming off the bat of Sheehan. And the slow roller out to short. Maureen, nice toss. Got it right belt high where he should have. 4 more. Not really enough time to complete the double play. So Sheehan's on at first. Warfield on the play moves over to third. And with 1 man out, Todd Tasker's on to try and get something done here for Oakland, Maryland.
Hey, let's give Nathaniel Panther some credit. He was the runner down at first, and he actually slid into the bag at second, and he forced Moore to have to take a couple of extra steps before he threw the ball, and that was the difference in allowing Sheehan to reach base.
The pitch taken for a ball. Might have been a little bit high. So Todd Tasker is stepping up. He is 0 for 1. He's flown to center and walked. And the throw down to first. Not in time. Some dancing off the first base bag by Michael Sheehan. Count at 1-1. Runners on the corners for Oakland, Maryland. They're in a 5-run deficit. The pitch low and away.
You know, Mark, although Oakland is down by 5 runs in this situation, you would think that Michael Sheehan would be stealing second. We have not seen the catcher throw through when there have been runners on the corners like in this situation.
Started to say earlier when we saw this for West Nyack, the favorite play we used to use with runners on the corners is to send the guy at first. The catcher would throw to the shortstop and then throw it back home. Fouled off behind the plate by Tasker. The count goes to 2-2. But that was something that, it's one of those plays that when it worked, it looked like the most brilliant play you can make. When it didn't work, it was, what'd you try that for? But we'll see what happens here and how West Nyack wants to play it. 2-2 pitch swung on, fouled at the plate, no play. And the count holds at 2-2. Good jump off of first by Sheehan, but he'll have to retreat. You see in the on-deck circle the shortstop Jordan Uphold. So we'll reset for you. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Oakland batting. They trail 9-4. The 2-2 pitch swung on. Back to the box. A diving stop by Joseph force play at second. In time, fine play. Chris Warfield scores for Oakland, and it's now 9-5 in favor of West Nyack. A fine defensive play, though, by Adam Joseph. Let's get a look at this one. Neil, you're going to see Joseph following through on his delivery, making a diving stop to his right. He'll stay on his knees and make the throw down to second in time for the force. And we've got timeout called now. I think we're going to have a pinch runner or some other sort of situation. Yeah, it looks like a pinch runner for Oakland, Maryland.
You know, what really impressed me about that play, besides the fact that Joseph was able to knock that ball down, but he had the good head to stay with the play that he knew he was going to make before the ball was hit, and that was to make that force play at second base. A lot of guys, when they make a great play like that, sort of forget what they're doing and sort of naturally go to first base, and he was able to get the runner going down to second base, and that's a good play in this situation. So now there's no one in scoring position with 2 outs. Derek Nelson, the pinch runner for Todd Tasker.
And with 2 men out, we've got Jordan Uphold at the plate. And he takes a ball up high. Uphold 1 for 3. He's grounded to first, singled and scored, and flown to center field. And fly out in the 4th. A fine defensive play by Brian Deutsch. So a 1-0 count now, and the runner goes, and the throw from Hart is down, gets by the shortstop, Mulreen. Backed up nicely on the play by Deutsch. And we will credit Todd Tasker with a stolen base. And we'd also give some, Derek Nelson, the pinch runner. So Nelson gets the stolen base. That's the second steal, make it the 3rd steal of the game for Oakland.
That pitch missing high and away. In fact, it chased Jordan Uphold out of the batter's box, and now the count at 3 balls and no strikes.
2 men out, bottom of the 6th. Uphold showing bunt, but he takes, and that's a sure sign from Oakland. Something that's developed throughout the game. When they show bunt in a non-bunt situation, chances are better than even. They're going to be taking 3-1 now. Joseph working from the stretch, swung on, and a pop-up into shallow center going out the shortstop. Mulreen coming in, the center fielder. Mulreen makes the catch to retire the side. Peter Mulreen with his 2nd sparkling play of the game, and it retires the side for the Oakland, Maryland club. And we've got a run in for Oakland. There was no base hits. There were no errors and 1 man left. 6 innings in the books. And the score is West Nyack, New York 9, Oakland, Maryland 5. Neil Jordan, we are going to get another look at a sparkling play by the shortstop, Peter Mulreen. Watch him go out with his back to the plate as the center fielder Deutsch converges. And you will see Mulreen coming into your picture. And watch this play over the shoulder, a la Willie Mays.
Peter Mulreen had that ball all the way, and excuse me, on another ball, you might have actually seen the left fielder Rowe call him off, and maybe it's the outfielder's play here, but Mulreen felt he had it all the way, and I can only guess that he was calling loud and clear. There was a collision after he caught that ball, but Peter Mulreen making a real nice play to get back there, make the catch, and hold on to the ball to end the inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you talk about collisions, scary collision a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh, I guess it was, with Midray Cummings, was it, and Dave Clark going at full speed, and very lucky that there was not some sort of substantial injury. We've got a new pitcher. Jordan Uphold's going to come in to throw the 7th here for Oakland, Maryland. Derek Nelson stays in. He's in at first base, it looks like. So a bunch of changes. I'm sorry, Nelson stays in right field. He came in to pinch run in the bottom of the 6th inning for Todd Tasker.
Okay, so we should have a new shortstop at this point. Let's see if we can pick up who the...
So Shahan goes to 2nd. Bosley goes to short. Keith Parks now moves over to 3rd. So we have wholesale defensive changes for Oakland, Maryland here in the top of the 7th. We'll try and reset things for you as soon as the ink dries on the scorebook. But it looks like for the time being, at first is Toby Upton. Over at second base, Michael Shahan. Josh Bosley goes to short. Keith Parks, who's playing his third position, is now at third base. On the mound is Jordan Uphold. The outfield stays the same. Panther and Warfield stay the same at left and center. And Derek Nelson goes into right. Leading off here in the top of the 7th is Tommy Monaco. And Monaco takes a ball for West Nyack. Jordan Uphold working quickly. Falls behind 2-0. Monaco 2 for 2. He's walked twice, singled twice, stolen 3 bases, driven in a run. The 2-0 pitch, out, up, inside, ball 3.
The only thing Monaco hasn't done in this game is made a pot of coffee for his teammates.
Well, they are 13.
Pot of chocolate milk?
There you go, pot of chocolate milk. 3-0 pitch. Ephus, high for ball 4.
When was the last time you saw a ball like that?
Dave LaRoche for the Yankees back in the early mid-'80s was the last pitcher to throw a moon ball, if you will. So that is the first walk allowed by Uphold. 18 free passes. Surrendered by Oakland pitching. And it brings up Peter Mulreen. He's made 2 sparkling defensive plays at shortstop, and he takes ball 1. Mulreen popped to short in the first, walked and scored in the third, had a sacrifice fly in the fourth, singled in the fifth. So he is 1 for 2. And the pitch is up and in for ball 2. Monaco already has 3 steals in the game. Now we'll keep an eye on him at first base. He's being held there by Toby Upton. 2-0 pitch, and taking all the way is Mulreen. It's a strike right down the heart of the plate.
Keep in mind that Jason Heinbaugh has thrown out the last 2 West Nyack runners trying to steal.
Doug Moore both times, swing and a foul back to the backstop. Evens the count at 2-2. Mike Lavia waiting on deck. Wind starting to pick up here at Zukor Park. Looks like the cloud cover might be breaking up just a little bit. Of course, it'll be a little bit too late tonight as the sun's going down anyway. 2-2 pitch up high for ball 3. It'll be a full count pitch coming up to Peter Mulreen. We'll keep an eye on Monaco at first. He has stolen, as we said, 3 bases already today. Not going, swung on and popped up on the infield. Toby Upton coming into foul territory now to make the catch for the first out of the inning. And interestingly enough, didn't look like Monaco made any great effort to get back to first to avoid the double play, but there was no throw.
Let's take another look at the play here by the first baseman, Upton. Ball hit high in the air off the bat of Peter Mulreen. And Upton will come away from the bag, and he's got to move quickly because this ball is not up in the air too long, and is able to camp out and grab it for out number 1 here in the visiting 7th inning.
And the third baseman, Michael Lavia, takes a ball. Lavia came in for defense in the bottom of the 4th. Batted in the 5th, he walked. And the 1-0 pitch from Uphold down low. Of course, you could say so-and-so walked for just about anybody on this West Nyack team today. They have been the recipient of 18 free passes. The 2-0 pitch, strike down the middle.
You're absolutely correct. Every single West Nyack player has reached via a safety.
You'd have to be awfully aggressive not to walk in this game. The pitch swung on, grounded out to short. Bosley with the play to second and on to first. Double play, retires the side. A 6-4-3 double play as Bosley starts things off. Bosley to Shahan to Upton. And West Nyack goes down in the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. West Nyack has a 4-run lead against Oakland, Maryland.
And Mark, let's take a look at the first double play in this game. A ball hit off the bat of Mike Lavia, and he hit it down to the left side, picked up nicely by Todd Bosley at short. Good little flip to second base. It's taken there by Shahan, who is able to relay on to first. A very strong throw. Good scoop by Upton down at first. And a 6-4-3 double play first in this ball game. West Nyack retired here in the top of the 7th, and they will take a 9-5 lead to the bottom of the 7th, and they're going to see if they can make it stand. behind Adam Josephart, who has gone all the way for West Nyack.
And it looks like Peter Maureen's going to come in to mop things up, actually. The big right-hander. Josephart heading out to shortstop, so a little switch here. Peter Maureen coming in to mop things up. He's got a 4-run cushion, so we expect him to be pretty loose. He's made a few nice defensive plays at shortstop, and now Adam Josephart goes out to short. Peter Maureen takes the mound, and in fact, in the preliminary tournaments, Neil, to get here, Maureen pitched in a couple of games. He was on the winning side of an 8-0 decision. I'm sorry, on a 10-0 decision, and he pitched West Nyack to a win in the deciding game against Haverstraw. That count of 3-2. And for Oakland, Maryland, it'll be Keith Parks, Josh Bosley, and Toby Upton, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. So Oakland gets a shot at it here. 4 runs they need to tie this game, 5 to win it here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Again, they've faced a deficit situation before in their last qualifying game against Laurel, Delaware. They were down 5-2 heading into the 7th. They came up with 8 big runs. That got them here to the Eastern Regionals, and the third baseman Parks takes a strike on the first pitch from Peter Maureen. The 0-1, right down the middle, but a bit low. Parks is 0 for 3. He's flying to center, grounded to second, and has been the only strikeout victim for the Oakland, Maryland club. Waiting on a 1-1 pitch. Maureen from the full windup. Low and away, ball 2.
Oakland, Maryland's going to have to do something here in the 7th that they have only done in one other inning in this game, and that's get some base hits. They have only 2, and both came in the 3rd inning.
I think they need to be just as patient as West Nyack's been. Take 2 strikes. That was always one of the big bits of advice we used to get from our coaches when we were younger. When you're in a hole like this, it's the last inning, let them pitch to you. It's 3-1 now on Keith Parks with Josh Bosley on deck. Maureen winds and kicks. Here's the pitch. Low and away, ball 4. Keith Parks draws a leadoff walk.
So, Mark, I think Keith Parks actually heard you. He was very patient up at the plate and waited and waited and waited, and all of a sudden he finds himself down at first base. So a leadoff runner aboard for Oakland, Maryland here in the home 7th, and Josh Bosley, a man of 3 positions, steps up to the plate.
Bosley grounded to third in the first inning, reached on an error and scored in the 3rd, and grounded to short his last time up, and he takes ball 1. Brendan Hart's going to be called on to make some big defensive plays behind the dish here in the 7th.
And let's keep an eye on Peter Maureen, the pitcher. He pitches from the stretch very, very differently than he does from the windup.
The 1-0 pitch is low and in for ball 2.
In fact, when he pitches from the windup, Mark, he comes completely overhead, but it's more of a 3/4 leaning towards sidearm type motion when he pitches from the stretch.
Steve Rowe is holding the runner on at first, who fakes a break, and the batter Bosley takes a strike for 2-1. Toby Upton chatting with Coach Dave Duckett in the on-deck circle. Mosley waiting on the 2-1. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. The throw down to second, not in time, as Parks dives in head first with the stolen base.
We'll get another look at this play, a hit-and-run play for Oakland, Maryland. It sort of worked, as Keith Parks got a nice jump, and Josh Bosley swung through the tag. Not quite in time as Keith Parks gets his first stolen base of the game. He's in scoring position. A bit of a gamble, though, Mark, trailing by 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th.
Good strong throw by Hart, but not in time. And you're right, Neil, it is a gamble. When you're trailing by 4 runs, you need to get base runners no matter what. So to put these guys in motion, trying to make something happen, it doesn't do a heck of a lot of good. He could be at second, he could be at third. This is only 1 run, and you need to be patient. Strike 3 called, and Bosley goes down on strikes. Peter Maureen with the big pitch.
Boy, Maureen came right at Josh Bosley through a nice fastball, catching the inside part of the plate. I think Bosley was looking for the breaking pitch, and back on his heels as we take another look at Peter Maureen, rather satisfied with making a very important pitch. 1 out now, he's 2 outs away from advancing.
And Toby Upton steps up. He's 1 for 3. Upton takes a strike, and the ball gets away from Hart. Throw down to third. They've got him by a country mile. Caught stealing is Keith Parks, and what a play by Brendan Hart. showing excellent hustle behind the dish. He made the throw, and the tag applied by Mike Lavia.
Well, if you gamble too many times in this lifetime, you're going to wind up with no money in your pocket. And that's what happened to Oakland, Maryland there, as Keith Parks took a real big gamble. That ball did not get too far away from Brendan Hart. He was right on it, made a strong throw to get the second out.
Count should go to 1-1 now, and the pitch fouled right back to the box. And it's 1-2, I should say, right back to the backstop. Toby Upton down to his final strike here for Oakland, Maryland, here in the bottom of the 7th inning. West Nyack leading 9-5. The winner of this game advances in the double elimination tournament in the winner's bracket to face Norwich, Connecticut. Here's the pitch, the 0-2. Just missed outside. And the crowd agonizing with that one.
Not too much of a partisan crowd here. West Nyack just a few miles down the road, and these home fans want a victory.
Upton, the first baseman, digging in. Here's Maureen's 1-2 pitch. Swung on, grounded out to shortstop. Joseph Hart with a long throw over the head of the first baseman Rowe. They'll score an error on the shortstop, Adam Joseph Hart. So I think Adam Joseph Hart, Neil, at short, just a little bit over anxious.
Joseph Hart had a chance to seal his victory here this evening with a strong throw to first. He made a strong one, but it was a little bit too high, and Oakland, Maryland still alive here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. As we get another look at Joseph Hart, who doesn't look too upset.
Now you've got a 4-run lead. You can't be terribly disappointed. Here's the replay. We'll take a look. Pretty good shot, good velocity on the play off the bat of Toby Upton. And it just looked like Joseph Hart tried to make way too hard a throw, and he did overthrow it. Had plenty of time, it looked like. He
sure
could
did.
have, but instead the error on the shortstop. And Jason Heinbaugh, the fine defensive catcher, coming up now for Oakland. They're down to their final out. And he takes strike one. Heinbaugh has popped to second, grounded out twice to third base. The last time, a fine defensive stop by Michael Lavia. He got up and gunned him out at first. 0-1 count. Toby Upton leading off at first. The pitch. Up high, ball one. Brendan Hart, again trying to keep the first base runner Upton close by. Gave him a look, cocked the arm back. Steve Rowe, the first baseman for West Nyack, holding on the runner. Maureen from the stretch, the 1-1 is outside for ball 2.
Brendan Hart did a nice job of trying to frame that pitch for the home plate umpire, but a little bit too far outside, and Heinbaugh in a good position now as the batter, facing a 2-1 count.
Maureen checks his runner, comes set at the belt. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. It was up and in with a fastball, but Heinbaugh could not catch up.
One of those beach balls, Mark, that you alluded to earlier, and when you're trailing by 4 runs, it's not uncommon to want to go out and try to put some aluminum on the ball.
It'll be a 2-2 pitch. Oakland, Maryland down to their final strike. Maureen wheels and deals, grounded to first, knocked down by Rowe. He'll pick it up, take it himself, and the final out is recorded for West Nyack. Jubilation for the brown and gold as West Nyack wins their first round game 9-5 over Oakland, Maryland. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and a 1-man left on in the 7th for Oakland. And your final score, West Nyack, New York 9, Oakland, Maryland 5. Back to wrapping up right after this. And we're back here at Zukor Park as you see the teams shaking hands, pretty much like the Stanley Cup Finals. West Nyack coming away with a 9-5 win over the club from Oakland, Maryland. And in their first round game, West Nyack comes away with the victory to take on Bristol, Connecticut in the next round. We're going to get a look at the final out of the game. It was a grounder to first off the bat of Jason Heinbaugh on a 2-2 pitch. Heinbaugh with a hot shot to first. Steve Rowe knocked it down, stayed with it, picked it up and took it by himself. 3 unassisted is the scoring play, and West Nyack comes away with a 9-5 win. Neil Jordan, it could have been a lot worse. West Nyack was the recipient of, about 18 walks. And boy, they left a dozen men on base. This game could have been a lot worse than a 9-5 score. West Nyack had some opportunities to blow this one wide open, but Oakland was able to keep it close. West Nyack persevering those 6 strong innings on the mound for Adam Joseph Hart.
He really pitched an outstanding game, did Joseph Hart. If you remove the 3rd and 4th innings from this game, he was nearly perfect, as Oakland scored actually 4 of their 5 runs back in the 3rd inning, and 2 Joseph Hart walks led to those 4 runs. There were a couple of errors in that inning, but again, if you could remove the 3rd inning, it was a great game for West Nyack. And again, the only thing, if West Nyack was to look back on this game, Mark, they scored 9 runs. They did have 7 base hits in the ball game, but they left an awful lot of men on. And as you advance in this tournament, it becomes more and more important to take advantage of the kinds of opportunities you run into, because every team you play is a little bit better. The pitching gets a little bit better, although I don't know if today's game was really that indicative. I think we saw, even for this level, an inordinate number of walks, but even so, a big game for West Nyack, a big win for them.
West Nyack comes away with a 9-5 win. Next up, Norwich, Connecticut in the winners bracket. Also in the winners bracket, Millburn, New Jersey, Massapequa, New York. And we will be back with you Thursday night, August the 10th. We've got the championship game, and the winner goes to the World Series of the Junior League Championship to be held in Taylor, Michigan. So West Nyack is on the road to Taylor. They win it 9-5. For Neil Jordan, I'm Mark Renee. Special thanks to our TKR Sports crew and everyone here at Zukor Park. Repeating your final score, it was West Nyack, New York 9 and Oakland, Maryland 5. For Neil Jordan, once again, I'm Mark Renee. Have yourselves a pleasant good evening. Thank you for joining us on TKR Sports.